Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to TCH Live. It's Monday. Not for you, maybe, but for us it is. And we got a very nice edition of 5-10-25 No Limit Texas Hold'em here at the Texas Card House here in Austin. Your host for the evening, Aaron McAvoy. Aaron, joined by my good friend, David De La Pena. What's going on tonight, buddy?
What's going on, everyone? Should have a fun game, good cast of characters, and we got some new folks from out of town, too, as well, so it should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a special stream going on tonight. Many of you will have already seen this, as there was Bet on Drew, the Next Gen Poker Kids, and Poker Bunny, I believe, going toe-to-toe on the felt in Dallas on Monday. So we're recording this here on Monday night here in Austin, and this is going to re-air for all of you guys who are now watching it on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it goes up on the interwebs. So hope you do enjoy. Once again, 5-10-25. This is an uncapped, no-limit Texas Hold'em game. And we're not going to start off with a bomb pot. Not sure if the players talked about bomb pots just yet, but we are going to get that figured out as we move along. As David said, there are several new players here on the felt, along with a lot of the usual cast of characters as well. So we will take a look around and see who we've got in the mix. Let's go ahead and get started on our first hand, shall we? Alex here. I think Alex has been on before. I believe he's from across the pond, if I'm not mistaken. Mooch here with a couple of trays. He's going to open this up from +1. And Preston, first hand, why not? Let's go.
Great hand to start with on the stream. Aces.
Yeah, why not? 2 black aces right off the bat. And let's see here. That's just going to get the job done, as Mooch is not interested in set mining from out of position there. First hand, first win for Preston there. Taking a look at the chip counts, Alex here buying in for a little over 11K. Maybe a little under 12K is a better way to say that. His life savings.
Who's that?
Okay,
Alex?
so super producer Carolyn is telling us that all of Alex's money that he has under the sun is on the table right now.
Wow.
Oh, at least in the United States.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, very good. That's the roll. Alex is playing for rolls. On to the next hand.
Look at that hat.
Yeah, that's a pretty special one. So yeah, we got Josh and Jay in from California, I do believe, was playing with them. Sorry, Vegas. That's right. We were playing earlier today, and they were talking about California poker and stuff. But yeah, that's right. They just, I believe, moved to Vegas not too long ago. So welcome to those two players.
Yeah, when I heard Josh and Jay, I thought it was Mosquito Josh and Jay Wynn. I was like, it's neither one of those players. They are not here today.
That's right. We got a couple of new ones, and then of course we've got Landon Tice joining us as well, buying in for 4K here.
Yeah, Solve for Y player with Matt Berkey. Always fun to have. He was on the stream last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Did
that
you
was
watch his heads up challenge?
You know, I did watch some of it. So I watched like the bonus coverage or whatever that was going on. That was sort of like on YouTube that you could watch, where you didn't have to have like a PokerGo account.
Yeah.
To watch it. So yeah. All right, on to hand number 3 here. Folds over to Bones here in the hijack. Ace-9 of clubs. I imagine that's just going to be a fold. Can be a loose open from the hijack, but Bones usually not too frisky with the loose opens. But we are going to have the action tracker get caught up here momentarily. He is going to come in with said loose open. No. Okay. The action has just gone by him. So it was an open 3-bet. Gets cold called in the small blind here from Big Daddy Chaz with a couple of 9s, and then Bones does bow out. That's certainly, if he's going to open it, he's definitely going to fold to a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bones didn't open. Okay, so that was a mistake in the action tracker. Okay, that makes more sense.
Heads up here, King 10 versus 9s, 735 in the pot. And definitely an action flop here for Landon, as he has a gutter and the flush draw, king high flush draw.
Yeah, Big Daddy Chaz going to go for the range bet here. This is very favorable for him most of the time. And even when you have a hand that really doesn't benefit from building the pot, such as 2 9s that don't have a heart, you can just sort of bet with impunity in these spots and really just hope to get it through. But not going to happen here. Off to a 3 of diamonds on the turn. Big Daddy Chaz now has a decision. He's just going to shut it down, which turning 9s into a bluff is just always kind of weird because it has a lot of showdown, even though it is effective third pair. Your opponent is going to have just some Broadway-type hands like Landon has here. And in fact, Landon's just going to check back. He says not a spot that he wants to bet and face a raise, so he's just going to realize equity, get to the river here, which is bingo. 5 of hearts makes the flush. Big Daddy Chaz going to check it over, and Landon going to go for, looks like 3/4, yeah, 2/3. And I think Chaz just... yeah, just going to have to let this one go.
Yeah. Probably showing face here. I think he's definitely going to let it go. Flush got there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you kind of want to, against really strong opponents, especially someone like Landon who puts in the time to really like dig into these spots, is you're going to want to make sure that you have enough of a calling range. Just sort of, you know, run through the numbers here and be like, all right, how many hands will have checked the turn that can then call this river bet, and do I need to move all the way down to 9s? And Big Daddy Chaz settles on no, which is the correct play, gets out of the way, and Landon going to drag that nice pot.
So J is J-Lo, right? He put his name on. Okay.
Going by J-Lo.
When I saw J-Lo there, I got a little excited. Like, whoa, J-Lo is in the house.
How awesome would that be? Celebrity stream,
right?
You know, we get the Kardashians in here and stuff.
Can you call J-Lo for us, please? Let's get her on the stream. She's actually going to be here in Austin. I think her husband is they're filming a movie or something like that. I don't know if you heard about that. So they're supposed to be staying here in Austin for a couple months.
Adult film or?
No.
Oh.
Ben Affleck, yeah. I think he's filming a movie. So
nice. Okay.
J-Lo is going to be in the house. No, they're not.
Man, I don't know. I can't keep up with all of the celebrity whatevers.
If she gets engaged, I think that'd be number 7. I mean, she is the GOAT of engagements.
Is it really? Wow. Yeah. All right. Go J-Lo.
I love J-Lo, man. I've had a crush on her since, I don't know, I was 8 years old.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and check out this hand here. Preston, Pierre, not Italian, not French, just Pierre.
Yeah.
And Big Daddy Chaz going 3 ways to a flop here. Big Daddy Chaz going to play this one in position as the pre-flop aggressor with the 3-bet. Getting called in these 2 spots. Preston going to go ahead and make top pair, backdoor straight and flush draws. Pierre has similar type holdings, but we're going to check through. Big Daddy Chaz had a whole lot of squadouche, so he was happy to just sort of give up. But now he's going to turn top pair of queens. That is going to be good. And check to him once again. Now's the time to go ahead and put in a little feeler here. Somewhere around half pot should get the job done. If your opponents have a weaker pair, they're often going to continue. He's going to go for a 375, which is, yeah, just a shade over half pot. And it's also going to put them in a weird spot when they do have something like 6s and 5s. You know, they're just like, ugh, can I really, should I just fold to this bet? But yeah, you probably should. Preston, in fact, is going to fold second pair, even the 8, not picking up a club or any sort of backdoor straight equity. He's just going to go ahead and let it go, and he is going to dodge any further damage. So
and Pierre was going with his hands there for a minute there. I thought he was saying all in, all in. I was like, whoa, is the tracker wrong here? Like, what's going on here?
Whoa. Yeah, I think Pierre would have to be on something to just rip it right there for his whole stack. That'd be something special.
I was asking Pierre before the stream. I was like, what's the name today? Is it Frenchie, not Frenchie? He's like, we're just going simple today. We're just going with Pierre.
All right. Well, sometimes simple is best. Pretty sweet tattoos Pierre's rocking too. I do get a kick out of his sleeves there. All right, let's take a look here as we're on to hand number 5.
Obviously we want it to be good, but
nothing worth coming in for a raise here with so far. Even Big Daddy Chaz in the cutoff, King 9 off, not worthy. Mooch, of course, in the small blind. Going to go ahead and attack this. Comes in for a 3x out of position. And Josh going to look him up. So heads up to a flop here. Josh in position.
Easy defend there.
Yeah, especially for that sizing. I'm a little bit more prone if I'm going to open the small blind to go 4x just to put.
Out of position.
Yeah, but you're out of position. You don't want to play out of position the whole hand. And if you can just take it down there with king high, that'd be great. And you also don't want to give your opponent just like amazing price to call with all sorts of different hands that are just going to, yeah, just realize more equity than you'd like them to, given the fact that your opponent's in position. We're just going to check it all the way down. Mooch is going to take his king high showdown, and Josh will do the same with his ace high and win the pot.
Yeah, Mooch had the betting lead pre-flop, so I wouldn't mind seeing at least a small continuation bet there. Probably would have worked as Josh only had ace high and not much going on that flop there. But 3 checks and ace high is going to take it.
Yeah, I think certainly you'd have to be planning a double barrel there. But yeah, you have a great range advantage. There was a queen and a club on board, so like there are a lot of turns that are going to give you additional equity to barrel on. So I definitely would have liked to see, you know, somewhere around a 1/3 on the flop, and then go ahead and barrel any turns that give you some additional equity. But that wasn't the turn that he would have been looking for. So it would have been most likely just like a bet and then a give up. But either way, just gonna kind of take the more conservative route on that one. Landon now. Going to take the not conservative route, UTG1, raise up to 75. No takers, and Landon will ship it. King 10 offsuit from up front. So we got a little NFL action going on tonight. Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Football Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
So you all will know the outcome of that game by the time this program airs, but we will be watching it in real time.
Try to, at least.
Or trying to, because David is struggling to get the internets to work on his laptop. But I have one league in my fantasy locked up, totally toast. I got the highest score in the league, so pat myself on the back for that one. Had Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams, so good things happening there. And then in my other one, me and my opponent are like putting up a bunch of points. He's still got Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, and the Eagles defense rocking tonight, and I am working with just Devontae Smith. So we'll see how that all shakes out. I will be looking back at that throughout the evening. As we've folded around over to Preston here on the button, he's going to open it up, King, Queen of Hearts, onto Bones' straddle, and Bones with a suited queen can safely defend here. Very small raise, only 35 more to go. Jack 10-4 rainbow. Neither player hitting that flop for a pair, but Preston does have an up and down straight draw to Broadway and the backdoor royal flush draw, so he's going to bet. Bones going to fold, and that's going to do it. Once again, taking a look at the chip counts there. Mooch sitting down on just a shade over 2K. Josh not too far ahead at 3.6. Jay low at 4. The rest of the players on up around 5 and up as high as everything that was in the pocket for our man Alex there on almost 12K.
Bones getting a massage from the lovely Victoria from Texas Royal Touch. Anytime Victoria walks into the building, everyone's like, you got a list? You got a list?
Yeah, Victoria.
She's definitely one of the best.
She is one of the best, and honestly, pretty much all of the licensed massage therapists from Texas Royal Touch are well worth the money. They are going to help work out all the kinks that you may have, your neck, shoulders, arms, wherever, and yeah, definitely worth the investment when you're hunched over a poker table for hours at a time to keep you sort of loosened up and comfortable. All right, raise to 75 here. Josh on the button. He's going to get 3-bet by Bones from the big blind with a suited ace, and that's just going to get the job done as the remaining hands were unworthy of a continue. All right, did you get the game pulled up or what? I guess it doesn't kick off yet for another few minutes as well, but we should be on some pre-game interviews and such, I think.
Well, I was trying to do on the ESPN Plus app, but if they make me sign in to some other thing, I don't have the passwords of these things, so we may not be able to watch it, unfortunately.
Oh, dude.
Ah, well.
Well, if you want to, yeah,
Unless you
we
have
could.
cable. I canceled my cable a long time ago.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, then it will be a struggle to watch it,
Yeah, no
I
worries.
suppose.
Then you get a TV back here.
Yeah, that'll go well. All right, folds all the way over to Landon in the big blind. He's going to go ahead and limp it. Pierre will check his option.
With the beautiful queen 3 off. That is a head. And it flops amazingly.
Yeah, bottom 2 pair. Landon flops 2 unders and a gutter. Pierre, happy to just call here. Says, like, Landon's just going to take a stab so frequently here that Pierre isn't going to raise him yet. And, yeah, when Landon checks here, Pierre should just try to keep this small. Just try to get some more chips in the middle. He's going to go 3/4, which I think is fine. Like, if Landon ever does just have a queen or something, he's going to call.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just kind of tough for your opponent to have much to continue with there. And Landon just going to go ahead and let it go.
WSOP is about to get started pretty soon. So what do you got in schedule for all that? When are you taking off?
Yeah, man, going to be out there. Going to play the reunion through the Millie Maker and the tournaments in between. So sort of starts off with the reunion, $500 buy-in, $5 million in the prize pool guaranteed, all the way through to the Millionaire Maker, which has $1 million guaranteed to first prize. I think the previous years were getting a little bit over that. I think first prize was like 1.2 maybe in 2019. That's if I'm not mistaken. But in any case, yeah, that's sort of the time frame. And, yeah, it just really sort of depends on how things are going in each tournament, because, like, the reunion, for example, is a 5-day tournament, right?
Yeah.
The Millionaire Maker is like a 4 or 5-day tournament. So if you actually make a deep run and you're, like, in real contention for a bracelet, then, yeah, you're not playing a lot of tournaments because you're just in that one for sort of the marathon stretch. But we'll see how things go. And, yeah, hopefully I have good things to report when I come back. Hopefully some new hardware.
How long are you going to be gone? You going for 2 weeks, something like that?
It's like a week and a half for that stretch, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, should definitely be fun. I'm unfortunately skipping this year, but I think I may go next year. Hopefully if they have it in the summer as well.
All right, all right. Okay, Preston here, UTG1. Ace-Jack offsuit, going to come in for a raise. Landon on the button. This is a very 3-bet worthy hand. Can also play it as a flat against the early position open. Yeah, I think that's going to be a mixed frequency for sure. Does make the call. These two players going to go heads up. $10-5 tray, mono. Neither player controls a heart. Preston going to go ahead and check, and Landon, given the opportunity, just going to go ahead and stab 1/5 pot. Preston is going to call that amount. A little bit strange. If you're going to go for the check call, then I think it's far more beneficial to just go ahead and c-bet. Because you're going to get put in some really weird spots. Like Preston is ahead, but he can't feel anything close to it here.
Yeah.
He does pick up a gutter to the wheel, but when Landon fires again here, this is going to just be super gross for Preston.
Landon's continuing to tell the story here, putting max pressure on Preston with only ace high. He's going to go ahead and let it go. So
Yeah.
good continue by Landon there.
Yeah, 2/3 there as the follow-up probe, and Preston can't do much about it. Yeah, and that hand honestly could have just gone to the complete opposite, right? Like Preston just like bet small, and Landon would have just had to let it go. And it's always curious to see how people play these different spots, because yeah, there's just so many different ways to play them, and you'll get dramatically different results based on like who does what, just because of the positioning and all of that. But anyways, we are just going to go ahead and move on to the next one after Landon drags that small pot. All right, I do see that you've got at least the sort of live thing here. Oh, looks like a touchdown.
Yeah. We'll always know when there's a touchdown because the entire room will just scream.
That's right. I did hear that sort of commotion through the wall there. Cowboys touchdown. Zeke Elliott. All right, let's go. Zeke finally getting a TD for himself. Mooch there, going to get the ace-king through. Looking down at it in the third blind and just gets a walk, honestly. Okay.
Do you have cable at home? That's the only
I
way
do
to be able
not.
to do it. Yeah, I don't have cable either.
Yeah. It's a tough sell these days, right? Like,
With everything that's going on, all the streamings and stuff like that. So.
there's so much content on so many different platforms and everything. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just don't spend a lot of time sitting in front of a TV anyways.
neither.
Like, if I am going to sit down and watch something, it's usually like a Netflix show that I care for, a movie that I've been looking forward to, or like live stream poker.
Yeah,
You know, something
pretty
of that
much.
nature.
I'm almost the same way. You ever seen Ozark?
Yeah.
I'm
That's a
super
fun
stoked.
show.
The fourth series is coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed in season 3. It's always tough for them to maintain the storyline over that many episodes and
Yeah.
have it be compelling from start to finish. But we'll see what they can do with it.
And we got a hand
coming into
here.
that season.
Ace Queen suited versus Jacks. Preston 3-bets to 275, and J-Lo is going to call with the hat. Oh, wow, he has guns on his hat. I just realized that. That is an awesome hat.
Yeah, no, it's like the Texas Ranger
Yeah.
situation, whatever.
It's like the Texas Wild West. And interesting, Preston's going to go ahead and check this. On an 8-high board, I would assume he's going to come in for the check raise.
Well, that's one possibility for sure. The other option, which Preston showed that he's more apt to play sort of the
Check
more
call.
conservative
Yeah,
route
yeah.
earlier, right? Like, so this may just be like, let's just go into sort of a check call mode because this is actually a board that isn't great for your range, right? Like, your opponent raises to 75, you 3-bet them and they call. They're going to have 8, 6s, and 4s, and you just aren't.
Yeah.
And so while you're going to maybe have like more 7-5 suiteds, like that's just not like a great thing for you. And now that the 3 of hearts peels off on the turn, things are just equally not great. So yeah, I don't think going for a check raise there is going to be in the cards. J-Lo is aware of the fact that his range advantage, sort of his nut advantage, one should say, is quite strong. He's going to continue betting. Keeps it small, though. This is a 1/3 sizing on this turn. And one might suspect that if you actually had a set here that you'd be going bigger.
There you go.
And my goodness, Preston does pounce on it. Does come in for the raise over that small size. Not sure if that's going to be just a size-dependent thing or what, but does go in there. And honestly, with that bet size, I think if his opponent rips it all in, like he's just sort of committing himself. So maybe he just wanted to shut that one down, be like, look, bro, we can play for all of it if you want. Not going anywhere.
Yeah, I've never personally played with Preston. I don't know if you have, so I'm not really sure what's his current style. But from what we saw earlier, I thought it was going to go check raise, and then we thought it was going to go check call. Then it was check raise on the turn. So interesting. But since he made it so small, I can see him taking that as maybe this is weakness. Let me try to shut it down right here, especially if he's on a flush draw or something like that, and take it down with the jacks on the overpair.
Yeah, the thing, though, to think about, and so, you know, I'm not necessarily going to try to dive into this too far because we're on to the next hand, but it's like, imagine if he goes for that check raise and his opponent calls, right? Now are you betting the river for value? Are you checking with the intention of calling? Are you checking with the intention of folding, like to some rivers, right? Like, you put yourself in a strange place if you go for that check raise and your opponent calls.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you go for the check raise and he just folds, like you just had the best hand and you got him to fold whatever little bit of equity he might have had. And so, you know, there's not much more nuance or excitement to the hand. But if you go for that raise and you get called, now you just have no idea if you're still going for value or not, which is just a little bit strange because one could certainly put yourself in the position of J-Lo there and be like, I've got a set, and you're going to check raise me? Like, cool, I'll just call and then see what you do on the river.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move along because we've got a
Another big
3-bet
hand.
pot and a 4-bet coming in as well. J-Lo, the original opener, up to 75. Landon takes the 3-bet line with the ace-10 off from +2. Alex on the button puts in the cold 4, and back to J-Lo here on the effective stack, 4.1K. Takes one more peek just to make sure. I do indeed have the ace-king. And he's just going to let this go for 75 bucks. Landon will quickly follow suit, and Alex is just going to take that down. So not something that we see a lot of here on the sort of the uncapped stream, right? People letting go of the ace-king. I'm not going to say that it's just like, you know, one way or the other. I think you can certainly mix some 5-bets.
Yeah.
You're facing a cold 4, right? And that's always going to sort of
Super strong.
move the goalposts, right? Because this was an under the gun open, a +2 3-bet, and then the cold 4 from the button. Like, you're betting into two very strong ranges, so button's got to have something very reasonable for that specific arrangement to go ahead and mix in the fold with the ace-king, I think. And that always feels so gross, too. It's so nasty. You're like, dude, I'm under the gun. How the hell are you guys raising me like this, you know? And you look down back at your cards, you're like, man, I should have aces here, but I just
Especially
don't.
with ace-king there. I mean, I could
don't.
understand the fold with the 3-bet, cold 4-bet. I can understand even a flat out of position. I can also understand a 5-bet. So,
I don't like the flat, but I think
not the flat. Okay.
I don't personally, but I mean, you can play it however you want to, but I think you're really setting yourself up for just like, right, like
Flat would be definitely like bottom on the list. 5-bet, maybe fold, flat.
yeah, yeah, because the 5-bet rip there would be pretty. I mean, I think pretty reasonable. He was the effective stack.
Yeah,
4.1.
4.1K.
I think that would have been fine as well. But on to the next one. Bones here, getting the massage in the 1 seat on the $25 straddle. Over to Mooch. Not going to open the cutoff. He is on the shortest stack here, so not going to get himself into any sort of spots that aren't going to be favorable. I mean, honestly, with a $25 straddle out there, $2,300, I mean, he's got 100 blinds, right?
Yeah.
And that seems like, kind of a lot. Like, that's usually like the cap for a lot of the casino games, 100 blind max buy-in. But for these Texas games, not quite the same.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know why I said flat with ace-king there, because I'm never flatting there. I'm either folding or 5-betting.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why I even said flat as an option. I've never played with him before, so I don't know how he plays. So
Sure.
Me personally, I agree with you. I'm either folding or I'm 5-betting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, because it's just weird. No matter how that one gets played, it is just going to be weird.
But people play ace-king very differently. So many people just hate ace-king, and they will limp call it. They will never 3-bet it. Obviously not at these stakes with these players, but some folks just really, really don't like ace-king. I'll take ace-king any day of the week.
Yeah. Or my favorite, which I saw a lot of in the tournament over
Jacks.
the weekend, which is just like an 8x open.
Yes.
And you're like, what on earth? Like, the standard is like somewhere between 2.5 and 4.
Yep.
And you just 8x'd it? Okay, everybody folds, and then you just like turn ace-king over and be like, I hate these cards. It's like very prototypical. All right, we've gone heads up to a flop here, 3-bet pot. Alex going to be playing this one in position with the pre-flop lead. Pierre calling from under the gun, getting his card scanned in, and he's got a couple of Judies. Checks it over. Alex is going to continue on this 9-high board for 325. Just about a 2/3 sizing here. Pierre not going anywhere. Two of the deeper stacks at the table here. Another check here from Pierre on the turn. Don't quite have a look at it just yet.
Ooh, I was going to say if a jack came, that's going to be, wow.
Yeah, the only jack that could come does come. It's the jack of diamonds on the turn. Alex now has top.
Yeah.
And should be thinking about getting some sizable value from his opponent here. His opponent has a 9, pocket 8s, pocket 7s, something like that. Yeah, bet at 800 here, another 2/3 sizing. And Pierre just going to go The check call here, I believe. Yeah. His hand is super disguised.
Very.
And so Alex here, if he has aces, kings, or queens, is just like always going to go for value on the river. You can check it over to him once more and give him the business on the end. Let's see here what Alex goes for. This is a spot that's like, it feels like with top that you should just always be going for value, but it's actually kind of thin value because your opponent isn't going to have a lot of hands that are going to want to pay off a triple barrel here. Certainly not for a large sizing. So if Alex goes for value, I think this should be relatively small.
Like 1.5, 1.6, yeah, 1.5.
Yeah,
exactly.
1.5 here.
Raise coming, just a matter of how much Pierre wants to make it. That was a great feeling when you have top set.
Yeah. Yeah, you lose to 5 tray, and that is just not a hand that Alex is going to have. So you don't lose to anything. You have the effective nuts, and your opponent has just bet 2/3 once again on the river. And yeah, this is going to be, what, 5K? 6K, yeah.
And Alex is like, oh, my U.S. life savings, right?
Everything that he smug butlered across the pond is potentially in play here. 4,500 to go. Half of his remaining stack has invested over 2,000 at this point. Or, yeah. Well over 2,000, almost 3K.
And if this goes to showdown, he's never going to think that Pierre has jacks here. He's maybe thinking, you know, 9s, 6s, 2s.
The problem for Alex is that there aren't very many natural bluffs, and this is a rainbow turn. So rainbow flop, rainbow turn, right, like completes the full Badoogie. So all of Pierre's sets are fully live. None of them would have felt the need to raise at any point because there just weren't any draws that you could be sort of concerned about letting get there for a cheap price, and or consequently having more hands in your opponent's range that they can continue with when you do go for something like a check raise on the turn, for example. So Alex here, this is just like super dry, and he's now getting raised top, like 9s, 6s, deuces, all in there, and he's not loving this at all.
I think he may find the fold. I mean, but he's thinking about it a long time. What are your thoughts on Pierre's bet here? Good sizing, a little bit too big. What are your thoughts?
So Pierre is going to have to choose a sizing that he can bluff with. And any bet that is substantially, like, in any way lower than 6K is just going to be too easy for his opponent to call. So he's going to want to go ahead and balance those out. So I think the 6K is really designed. I mean, it's a pot size bet, pot size raise, basically, right? Not even. What is it? The 1.5K, take the 6 out for, yeah, I mean, it's in the ballpark, I suppose. 2/3 pot size raise. And Alex is going to look it up. That's the thing is Alex is just at the top of his range almost, right? Like, aside from his pocket pair hands, his aces, kings, and queens, like ace-jack, and then he just doesn't have that many more hands.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to have to make the call. He does. Full 6K going over to Pierre. Really well played. I think that was great bet sizing. Got the maximum there. Put his opponent in a tough spot. And does get paid off.
And Pierre played it perfectly with check, check, and then on the river check. You'll see a lot of players, especially in more of the lower stakes, will kind of turn their hand face up on the river there. They go check, check, and then they're going to lead out big. And then they get a hand that can potentially call them with max value, get them to potentially fold, or not let them lead out by checking. Let your opponent lead out and then come over the top to get max value there. So I love the check there by Pierre on the river for sure. It takes a lot of discipline to make that check there.
Yeah, I mean, so certainly for someone as accomplished as Pierre, it's going to be a pretty standard line. And again, it's because of the rainbow nature of the board, and these things are so important to pay attention to And a lot of players would sort of miss that, right? They'd be like, oh, well, why wouldn't you go for the check raise earlier or something? And the problem is that you're just not going to have enough bluffs. When there are flush draws or straight draws available that make sense for the given ranges that the players are utilizing, and you have more bluffs, now you can go for more check raises for value. But when you just have so few bluffs, like Pierre just wouldn't hardly have any on the turn. And so it's really tough for him to even get to the river with a hand that could turn itself into a bluff. It's going to be like a one-pair hand that turns itself into a bluff. And like something like a Jack-10, you know, all things considered, are going to be something like Pierre's bluffs there, where he blocks top set, and it's just like, you're probably not 3-betting me with 9s, 6s, deuces, whatever, so like a bad Jack, turn that into a bluff. And if that's what he's doing, there's just no hands. There's just no hands. All right. 3-bet pot here, Bones from the small blind. After getting facing the open from Josh with the 3s. Does get called. Josh playing this one in position. Bones flops a whole lot of not much. Just ace high. I suspect this is just going to be a check and give up, but as I say that, Bones is reaching for chips. He's going to go ahead and represent over pairs, perhaps some diamonds, things of that nature. Josh going to take a peek here. And he is just going to go ahead and let this go, which, I mean, I think it's a continue just because the 10 high boards are just not very good for the 3-better. And you're in position. So if your opponent does give up on the turn, then you just like snap no that like your hand can get to showdown.
And it was a large bet in comparable to the pot. We made 400 into six something, almost three-fourths pot there.
Yeah, if you're gonna bet that kind of a 10 high board, then you're gonna want to go for 2/3. Otherwise, you're just not gonna accomplish much, I think. But yeah, well played there. Bones is gonna get it through. I mean, and the same thing could be said sort of on the reverse, which is like that this is a 10 high board. It's not really good for you. You're going to still bet, and I just have 3s. Like, okay, what do I do when you bet the turn? Like, if it's just any card that isn't a 3, I'm going to hate it, right?
Yeah.
I guess maybe a 5 to give you a straight draw or something you can continue. But there's just not many cards in the deck that are going to help you. Just dip out early. It's fine, too. Alex limping under the gun with 2 red 7s. J-Lo going to attack from the cutoff. And Big Daddy Chaz waking up with a couple of 10s here from the straddle. Going to go for the big squeeze, 4.5x. That'll quickly get the job done.
Looks like Philadelphia Eagles have scored. 7 now. Have you checked your fantasy team?
I have not. Let's find out.
Chip Camp Pierre is on top with 17.2. Mooch, 2.3. So Pierre has a big stack with, he had a big hand earlier with a set of jacks versus top pair, top kicker versus Alex.
Gross. It was a fumble recovery for a touchdown by the Eagles defense. My opponent has the Eagles defense, so they just went from 4 points to 13. Dallas Goddard also sitting on 4.8 fantasy points, and I am now projected to get my ass handed to me.
If we had the chat right now, everybody would be just talking about football and all their fantasy points. It's kind of interesting not having the chat going on because we're live, but we're not technically streaming. So interesting dynamic for sure.
Shout out to my 2 buddies, Steven Tixay and Matt Perry, both making the final table. The big local tournament here, $273,000 up top.
Nice.
Both those guys still in the mix. Hell yeah.
Landon opens the 6-5, and Pierre 3-bets with ace-king, and Landon's going to call. Steven, Mr. Delivery Steven, who's played on the stream. And what was the other one?
Matt Perry. Both of those guys have played on the stream. Most recently, Matt Perry played on the stream with me and my buddy Mike Perroni while he was in town. Monotone flop here. Queen, Jack 3, all hearts. Neither player controls a heart. Check, check. 3 of clubs on the turn. Pairs the bottom card. Shouldn't change much. Doesn't change much. Pierre still way out in front. Should go for a little tickle here. 1/3. and Landon runs for the hills.
Is your buddy Matt local, or is he came in strictly to play poker?
Yeah, so Matt is a recent transplant. Still trying to find out where he's going to sort of put his roots down, I think. But yeah, as of our conversations, it seems like he's thinking about setting up shop here for a little while. But we'll see. Maybe he'll just ship this tournament for $250,000 and, you know, fly off to Antarctica. You never know.
Yeah, that's always a nice feeling.
All right, we got the 5 and the 10 out there from 2 absent players, so their money going in, whether they like it or not. Preston here, going to go ahead and be first to act. $25 straddle. We haven't seen the 50s come out just yet. The 50s are pretty prone to coming out at some point, but as of right now, keeping it at the $25 blind level. Josh, J-Lo out of the way. Bones here. Queen 4 offsuit in the hijack. All right, let's go, Bones. I made
That he doesn't open light? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he usually doesn't. Like, he let the ace-9 go earlier, right, from the hijack, and the ace-9 off, so the Queen 4 off is definitely. I mean, there were some. I guess no, those players came back in time to see their hands, right? So I was going to say it wasn't just 2 dead blinds out there.
Well, he just ate Chipotle earlier, and he just got a massage from Victoria. So I think Bones is just feeling good right now.
Dude, yeah, he was just heating up. Yeah, he was just heating up. Mooch had been in the 3rd blind, and now Preston being the 3rd blind here, 5, 10, 25.
It looks like Alex just got some money. Maybe he Venmo'd someone.
Oh, yeah, could be.
Looks like a stack of a couple thousand.
Okay, we'll see if we get that number updated here on the screen. When players add on, as they want to do, they just need to communicate that to the dealer, and they relay that information to the fantastic super producer Carolyn, who is running the controls here tonight, as usual on Monday nights. Preston and Landon here looking to go heads up to a flop. No, Preston going to come in for a 3-bet squeeze from the straddle, 10-8 offsuit. Landon opening from the hijack. So Preston trying to style on Landon here a little bit. Landon says, all right, I can handle 3.5x in position with the suited Jack-9. He's going to flop top pair. Preston has 3 to a straight, and that's about it. He's going to continue here for 225. 40% pot sizing here.
Easy call for Landon. Top pair and backdoor flush.
Absolutely, yeah. This doesn't feel great by any means, but you're certainly happy to continue. 6 of clubs on the turn increases Landon's hammerlock on the equity here.
Yeah, Landon's definitely going nowhere now.
Preston picks up a gutter with his overcard to the board, so he does have 17% equity here. He's going to bet 600, 2/3 now. So a little bit of a down bet, 40% on the flop, goes for 2/3 now. Landon happy to call in position here, heads up once again to the river.
10. Does not get there.
King of spades, and I wouldn't suspect that Preston's going to have a ton of kings here, but on occasion he's going to have something like an ace, king, king, queen of diamonds. Maybe even like a king jack of diamonds that just like barreled.
Oh wow!
And so
he's going for it.
The king. I mean, the king is a much better card for him than it is for Landon, so he is going to go for it. And Landon just can't fold top pair on the flop, especially when the front door diamonds miss.
Oh,
and so that's the danger for Preston by taking that line, is that he is he's going to get looked up by a lot of one pair hands just because the front door diamonds, the most obvious draw missed. And the king just like, quote unquote, looks good for his range. So Landon snapped that off very quickly.
Yeah, we originally thought Preston was on the conservative route, but he definitely showed aggression on that hand.
Mm-hmm. Mixing things up, that's the best way to do it. Keep your opponents guessing for sure. All right, 5, 10, 25 once again. Now, have you played stakes up to 5, 10, 25 or 5, 10, 10-20, something like that?
5-10's the highest stakes that I've played. So I played with obviously several of these guys before. Have not played the 5-10 live stream, but played 5-5, 5-10 every now and again when it runs. Outside of the live stream, it doesn't run very often. So mostly 2-5. But I'll get in there and mix it up with 5-5 and 5-10 when they run. But like I said, they don't happen that often.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's normally the same, a lot of the same players throughout Austin as well.
That's right. All right, we got a 3-bet pot developing here with multi-way action. Josh is going to go ahead and dip out with the queen jack suited, not going to get himself tangled up too far, and it's somehow just going to get whittled down to these sort of middling and low pocket pairs. Pocket 9s against pocket 4s here. Alex putting into the 3-bet on the button with 9s. 2 overcards. Preston, of course, was like, give me a set, please. Check, check. Another ace here. That's actually going to make both players feel like they could have the best hand. However, Alex has the pre-flop 3-better. It's going to barrel a lot of his like missed broadways, right? King, queen, king, jack, even some queen jack type hands, right? Those are going to barrel. And so Preston may have thought about turning 4s into a bluff. They do have some showdown, though. He is just going to check it down along with Alex, and they'll both just turn their hands over, and Alex will ship it. It is always weird, and it's kind of tough to know when to turn something like pocket 4s into a bluff on this sort of a run out, but honestly, when your opponent should be betting with all of the hands that 4s are going to beat, and they just keep checking, kind of announces that they've got showdown and they're happy to get there.
Yeah.
And 4s aren't going to beat any of that. So somewhere along the line, if you pick it up in time, like if you recognize on this turn, like, no, I'm going to need to double barrel now, right? Like to get this one through. That's the time to attack it. But once you miss your window, then you do just kind of have to shut it down and be like, well, 4s aren't any good, but that's what we're doing with them.
What are the biggest stakes you play? I know you play the 5-10 with these guys every now and again. You played on stream.
Yeah, back when it was 5-5, I did play the stream several times. Those were back in the days when the 5-5 uncapped would typically have
like 5 to 6K.
Like 5 to 6K were the big stacks, right? And now it's just a lot of 10K stacks out there these days. As it stands, the most recently, I did actually sit down with these guys after a stream one time, played some 5, 10, 25. We even had some $50 straddles going on. That was definitely the biggest stakes I've played as far as a cash game. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. Had a great time. Also ran pretty good, so can't complain about that. Preston.
Oh, go ahead.
Preston,
there's 2 diamonds on this board. I was going to say if there's 2 diamonds on this board, there's going to be some fireworks, but we just have 1.
Indeed. Gut shot here for Pierre. Preston, the pre-flop aggressor, going to make second pair. Goes for a range bet here first to act. 1/3 pot. Pierre going to look him up. Does have that gutter, 1 over, and the backdoor diamonds that he doesn't want to hit. Nothing changes there, however, neither player with a heart. Not going to feel too pumped about that.
Preston's going to go ahead and check it over to Pierre. Pierre checks back. Probably wants to get the showdown as cheap as possible with second pair here with the hearts on the board. I assume this will go check, check unless Pierre somehow wants to turn his hand into a bluff, which I don't see happening. But after check, check, he may want to fire. And he is going to. A pot of 1K. Looks like he's going to make it 650. 65% pot size bet exactly. And will Preston hero call with his 9? It does not look like it.
Yeah, I think he's going to need to, though, because Pierre is pretty much only going to have queen 10 here. Queen 10, queen jack with no heart.
Oh, he makes the call.
Yeah, Preston does make the call.
Nice
I think
call.
I like that. And because when Pierre checks the turn back, right? Like I think he's only doing that with like queen jack, queen 10 with no heart. And that's just a couple of combos. And I don't know that he's even in there with any queen 10 offsuits anyways. So yeah, there's just very few hands that Pierre's going to have there that are going to be able to go for value. And yeah, top pair, or sorry, second pair top kicker. Great spot to bluff catch right there. Well played, Preston. And I think Pierre, like if you could go down there, stick the microphone in his face, you know, from this time in the past when he actually made that play and be like, so how did you feel about that? He'd be like, well, I knew this was probably a marginal play, but I went for it anyways. And thanks. I'd like to thank my mother and my son. If I have one out there somewhere. You never know. Alex is going to open this up from the hijack, raise to 75. Mooch with a couple of 10s. Going to 3-bet him next to act. J-Lo in the big blind didn't go for the suited wheel ace squeeze, but Bones has a couple of ladies.
Yeah, 4-bet coming. See how big he makes it.
Yeah, with the cold 4, you don't have to go super big. Especially with Mooch, the effective stack here on just 2K. You pretty much just need to price out the man in between, which he does.
Does Mooch want to play for it all here?
Facing a cold 4, pocket 10s are
Shrivels up.
sort of, I mean, yeah, they're kind of like barely even break even, right? Because it depends on your opponent's range a lot, but if Bones never does this with ace queen, then 10s are just losing. Because it's 16 combos of ace king and then aces, kings, queens, jacks. And you lose all of those, and you flip with the ace king, and that's just not great. He's going to go ahead and call and play this one in position. This is basically a set mine, but now the stack to pot ratio is basically at 1, so I think Mooch is also just going to commit himself to any non-ace, no-king flop, right? Which I could see Mooch getting dusted here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Especially if it's a 9-high board.
Yeah, 8 or 9 high board, even like a jack high board. All right, I think he can get away from this one, though. Bones also not going to be too pumped on this. He's going to range bet this for sure. 4-bet pots, you have such a significant range advantage that you're just going to just slam dunk bet this every time. And yeah, super small. I love this. Bones, of course, going to have a lot of experience in these type of spots. And yeah, Mooch. Yeah, Mooch has to continue for that size, and that's the advantage of understanding these small bet sizes. And now that the stack to pot ratio is just so minuscule, Bones is just going to rip it because there's no reason to do anything else. If he's ahead, his opponent's going to put it in and lose. If he's behind, his opponent would probably jam. Anyways, but Bones is going to check. I suppose you can always try to get the money in on the river, but
now, if Mooch jams here, if you're Bones, are you calling with the king out there? For sure.
Check, check. Front door spades completes, and yeah, you kind of have to get your value somehow, but Bones is going to keep checking. A little bit curious there. A little bit curious. I don't know. I'd have to talk to Bones about that one. I mean, maybe there's something to it about preserving the 1300. That if your opponent just checks down a king for whatever reason, that's just not a bunch of kings, right? Like you have 2 queens in your hand. How many king queens are left?
Yeah.
But maybe it's better to just sort of check it down. I'm not too sure about that.
Well, I don't think Bones has a lot of experience with Mooch. I'm not sure if they've ever played together. So once Bones made the C bet and he got called, maybe he's thinking to himself, okay, maybe you have a king. I just want to get the showdown as cheap as possible. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but the problem for me is that if your opponent has a king and you check the turn, even if they check it back, like let's say they do have like a king-queen and they do just sort of squint at it and check back, the stack to pot ratio is so small that they would probably just rip it in for value on the end, right? And so if you just check to them over and over, they're probably just going to pile it on you. And if your plan is to call off because the stack to pot ratio is so small, then you may as well put them to the test, which can also induce a call from weaker hands, right? But if you just check, then the weaker hands, of course, are always just going to check down, and you're not going to get the value from them. I don't know. That one's always weird. It's something that I've sort of learned over the years of how to assess these situations. In a situation, stack to pot ratio is low. If I check and they go all in, am I calling? If the answer to that is yes, well, then I may as well jam.
First, yeah.
I may as well jam, get the value if they call off with a worse hand. Because if they had a better one, I was just going to lose anyway.
Yeah, because you give them the opportunity to fold, whereas if they jam on you, they're already in it.
Yeah. So that's like, but that's just 0th order logic. I mean, being on the table, seated in Bones' position behind his chip stack, looking across the table with that man, going to be a very different experience. So he takes the more conservative route and does win the pot, albeit a little bit smaller than perhaps it could have been. Mooch with a couple of 4s on this board, just going to quickly let this go. And Preston, after 3-betting pre with the ace-9 off and the cutoff, going to go ahead and just c-bet and take it down.
And if you guys are just joining us when this gets posted, today is Monday, September 27th. And the reason why this wasn't live stream is because we have I guess what we're calling an influencer stream up in our Dallas location. I believe it's Next Gen Poker, Poker Bunny, Greg Potter, who's a commentator up there, and then also Bet on Drew, who is and they are currently streaming from the Dallas location as we speak, as we're watching this and recording this from Austin. So this will be up, I think, Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So that's why it wasn't on live.
All right, moving on to the next hand here. Mooch here with the ace-10 offsuit. Gonna open this for a min click to 50. Is playing sub 100 blinds now, so gonna come in for this min click just to see what he can get done. Gets looked up on the button from J-Lo and Pierre in the straddle. 3 ways to a flop. It's 10 high with a couple of clubs. Mooch is going to make the best hand here. Had the best hand pre as well. Check, check. Mooch not going to continue on this 10 high board. A little bit curious. Going to go ahead and let his opponents do the betting, and J-Lo will oblige for 65. Mooch going to go for the check call. Queen of diamonds on the turn. J-Lo going to go ahead and take over the lead. Mooch, after checking the flop, has a pretty natural check on the turn here. J-Lo will continue betting now that he's made his hand. No reason to stop now. Mooch going to go for the check call once again, 250.
Interesting. Ace or a 10. Nope.
Yeah, deuce of spades, Brick City Knights here. Front and backdoor flush draws missing. Mooch still with the sort of disguised top pair on the flop. Now second pair top kicker. Yeah, Mooch going to go ahead and reload. We already see a couple of pink chips out there reaching down for another stack of hundies. So
is he from out of town? Okay.
Yeah, I played with Mooch just the other day, if not earlier today. It all kind of blurs together, but
when you do both though?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Like I said, it just all blurs together. Been playing tournaments of cash and everything just all weekend. But yeah, we were playing earlier today then, and is going to reload back in the mix here. Looks like for another, is that a min buy, 1K? Oh, no, plus the cash that's going to the cage. So he's going to have. Okay, so we'll get that red in here momentarily. Bones here on the button, suited wheel ace, hearts variety. Pierre from the big blind is going to peel off a flop, out of position with the jack-9 of clubs.
Bones flops a gutter. but is still in the lead here with ace high.
Yeah, this is just going to be an easy continue and a quick fold from Pierre. No clubs, no real shot at a pair of value. Yeah, Jack-9, easy fold. And on to the next one.
I bet you those tattoos on Pierre's wrist, those might hurt real bad. Right there, like right around the bone and everything. Ooh.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I don't have any tattoos myself, but
No?
what I've heard is that the most painful spots are like the ribs, the outside, like the side under your armpit, whatever. That's really painful, and maybe the inside of the arm
Like
more
right
so
here.
than like the top of the wrist. Yeah,
Inside
yeah,
of the
exactly,
chest.
exactly. Not even up in here.
Certain
Okay.
spots of the arms, like inside. No. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Super producer Carolyn with some tattoos of her own, so she's letting us know that
You're not gonna
the
get
arms
any?
mostly don't bother.
Aaron somewhere.
On my forehead? The forehead? Oh, well, I'm probably going to stay away from that. I don't have any tattoos. I don't need to start with my forehead.
Collarbone hurts. There.
Yeah, it was never something that I got into or even thought that much about. Like, my sister has several tattoos, and she's always been like, brother, let's go get tattoos. And I'm like, no. And, like, shut it down pretty quick. But she just always wants me to get one. And it just doesn't appeal to me. Just doesn't. Tattoos on other people, I think, are fine, right? Like, I mean, it's not like I'm like, ooh, I look down on tattoos by any means. I just don't want them for myself personally.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like needles?
No, needles are fine.
Okay.
No, it's not the needle aspect. It's more just
Permanent.
it's permanent, and I haven't gotten attached to like imagery in a way that has connected in enough of a like emotional space for me to be like, I need that on me. Like, I need that on me forever. And some people, they're into that. That works for them. But anyways, let's move along here. Bones going to drop the 3-bet here from the hijack. J-Lo opening UTG2 with a couple of sailboats, and this is going to be a pretty tough spot to continue. I suspect he'll just be running away. I always hate to fold a pair pre, but out of position with little babies like that, you're just like, eh. Looks over at his neighbor, sort of says, I don't like folding, but I have to.
But it's always good when you call and you hit.
I mean, it feels nice, that's for sure, but yeah, doesn't happen all the time.
Let's just look at the next gen kids are.
Yeah, I got
doing some commentary as well.
Exactly, got the next gen boys in the booth over in Dallas, doing some live streaming stuff. I've interacted with them a fair bit over the last year or so. Really cool guys, super outgoing, and just like a ton of fun.
Fun
right?
kids.
Like they are there
To have fun.
to have a good time, and it's awesome. Yeah. I played the most with Frankie. Like, yeah, we've tangled up quite a bit. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, they're college. They're building a brand. They got merch. I mean, good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Pierre raises to 75 with the pocket fives. Mooch with king jack suited in the big blind. Could definitely call here. Or raise, which he is going to the 260. I like this raise. Good sizing, especially from out of position. King jack suited is definitely a good raising hand. Let's see if Pierre wants to go ahead and call with his baby pairs here. And he will. Going heads up here. Needs $10 more. Give it to Daniel, their dealer. And heads up to the flop.
Yeah, Mooch putting a pretty significant amount of his rebot stack here in the middle. Pot going to move up to over 500, 550 to be exact. He's going to brick this. Has a gutter, backdoor hearts. Tough to continue. Just hope to get this one through. Bets half pot, and Pierre will indeed get out of the way. So Mooch happy with that result. Going to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief there.
Yeah, great continue. I mean, if he checks there, he's pretty much capping his range and giving Pierre an opportunity to either steal it on the flop or steal it on the turn. First quarter of the Dallas Cowboys game is now finished.
Okay.
14-7, Cowboys winning against Philadelphia.
14-7, okay. So more points for the Cowgirls is good for me because that reduces the point total for the Philly defense. However, looking at my fantasy here, Devontae Smith only 1.5 fantasy points. Not looking too good. I'm going to need him to step up in a big way. And for Dallas
This is your first
to do
time
the same.
doing fantasy, right? You've done it before.
I have, yeah, many years of fantasy football under my belt. But, yeah, this is a new league that I'm in. And, yeah, I mean, I'd like to have a strong showing for sure. And I happen to be up against one of the only other guys in the league that's putting up the kind of points that my team is this week. I'm projected at 154, and he's at 165 projected, so pretty big. Nobody else in the league going to do that kind of damage. I guess we got 152 and 158 already on the books, so I guess I kind of lied about that.
People think I'm crazy that I'm not into fantasy football. I don't know. Tried it, I think, once, and just made me care about things that I didn't care about. And it looks like we got a PLO bomb pot, which we didn't get earlier in the stream for some reason.
Yeah, usually we kick off the game with it, but decided not to this time around. But we are doing one now. The Jesse has stepped into the box. So we'll get these hands scanned in here. Big Daddy Chaz sitting on the 7 high heart flush draw. Another ace here on the turn. Josh now is going to make trips. We're still checking. Alex says now's the time to fire for 125. Just sort of thin the field. Josh not going anywhere yet. And those two players going to go heads up to a river. Alex's hand still not fully scanned in or scanned in at all. Well, you kind of have to fan the cards out, so he's got it over the sensor, but all of them bricked right on top of each other. There it is. Okay, there it worked. Oh, he's got a stone nothing ball, nothing burger. He's just going for it. And Alex is going to have to pot this to get away with it. Oh, he's done. He's shutting it down.
He just folded it. He's like, I got Jack high. I can't win. I'm just going to fold.
Yeah, when it checks to you on the river and the spade comes in, I think you got to go for it, man. Take that nothing burger and turn it into gold, you know? There's 475 in the middle. Anyways, does just check it, and Josh will win. On to the next one. So, so I talked about my WSOP sort of plans, and you were telling me earlier that WSOP just not really the thing for you this year. You said what, you have gone before?
No, yeah, I've gone before. Have not played in the main event yet. Definitely something I will do in the future.
Yeah.
Everyone tells me if you're a poker player, you have to play it at least once. It's just absolutely amazing. So I've not played in it yet. But I recently just started playing poker about 3 years ago. So I went 12 years without playing poker, just kind of focusing on my career and traveling and stuff like that. So, but getting more into it, and definitely look to play the main event in the near future.
Hell yeah, yeah. It's an experience that is well worth the investment, both in money and in time. As if you make it past day one, which would be a record for me, you're going to be in it for a while, potentially. Yeah, I am really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to making day two.
Yeah, it was really a schedule and logistics thing. With being in October, got stuff that are already doing with family in the October. Summer would have been a little bit easier, but obviously we couldn't do the summer for a variety of reasons. So hopefully next year it's in the summer. We can get back to how it was a couple of years ago because the last 2 summers, this summer and last summer, it was not in the summer. So we'd like for it to get back to the summer for sure.
Summer.
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 Said summer a lot.
I agree. Although I'm also kind of looking forward to being in Las Vegas.
Not as hot.
When it's not 117.
I
It'll be
agree
like
with that.
108 instead, and that'll be way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely hot. It's been cooling down here in Austin. The weather has been amazing here. So this is definitely my favorite time of the year. I love fall.
Yeah. Austin from like now until December is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Big
54
fan.
degrees in the morning like a couple days ago. I had to wear pants.
Yeah, you go
I never wear
outside and you're
pants.
like, whoa, I don't hate everything about being outside. This
Yeah.
is amazing. Looks like we got the 50 on and a 75. Let's
we
go. Oh,
100.
no. Yeah, I was like, okay, it's got to be 100. Okay, I was curious. But 50 and 100 on, so the straddles are growing. And Alex looks down at number 1 in the hijack.
Perfect time to have aces. Oh, and bones with ace king.
We are going to see some chippies, but Bones here.
Interesting.
Go for the flat.
I'm going to price Pierre in to come for 7s.
Yeah, so everybody playing reduced number of blinds given the $100 third blind there. So Bones on an effective 60 blinds. He says, I'm just going to play this one as a flat, and this is going to be bad news bears. Flops top. Checky over to Alex, who loves this board. He doesn't have a spade, so he's going to continue with 100% of his range. Bones goes for the check call. And that was a very small sizing, Alex, keeping the pot under control rather than trying to get all of the chips in. Still possible, but going to need to go for a bigger, chunkier bet here. Substantially so, in fact, if he does indeed want to get all of the chips in the middle. Perhaps content not to go that route, but with... Wait, oh my good lord,
checked.
we've gone check. So Alex is playing this one very tricky trappy. And with the queen on the end of spades, this could just go check.
Oh, my goodness. This is the smallest ace king versus aces pot we've seen on the stream, maybe.
Yeah, Alex is gonna. I mean, I can just like feel his pain right now of being like my hand's super under repped, but now like everything just came
Got
in,
there.
and I just want to check and just win this pot.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna look,
Sure got there.
and I'm gonna look like kind of weak for not going for my value, but nope. Okay, here he goes.
Okay, cool.
He
he's
announces
gonna
a
snap
number,
call.
and it just gets snapped. It's 1K plus, and just Bones just has to pay it, and Bones lost the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
Hands down, Bones won that hand.
Yeah.
Like,
I was
wow.
not expecting a flat there from Bones with ace king, but maybe he sensed Alex may be doing this with aces and only aces, so he's like, I'm going to just flat with ace king. I don't know.
I
Very
mean,
interesting.
live reads are real, but to put someone on aces and only aces
Yeah.
is sort of like a thing you do at 1-2 because that person never does a 3-bet or 4-bet ever unless it's aces kind of a thing. And this, I don't think this is one of those cases.
No. And I've done that 3 times in 1-2, and I folded kings pre-flop 3 times, and I was right every time. When the tightest guy at the table is 5-bet jamming on you, and he hasn't played a hand, okay, you win, sir.
Yeah.
I can fold my kings to you, especially at a small 1-2 table. And he had aces every time. They always show it. Like, oh, I had aces. No one called me.
Yeah. Yeah, that, however, was this not 1-2. Those are 2 very experienced players, and that was a very curious result.
Yeah.
Given the holdings and the flop texture. That is for sure. All right. Josh on
Whoa.
the button. No, this is a
Okay.
fold to J-Lo. This is a fold to J-Lo in the small blind. Yeah, there it is. Ace, king off. Gonna open this up. Pierre, gonna look him up from the straddle. The double straddle for 50. Heads up to a flop, 2-tone. Pierre gonna bet one check to 2. J-Lo gonna go for the check call. Small sizing, 8 of spades now on the turn.
And we still don't know what Pierre has. Doing his best DQ impression by not scanning his cards. And J-Lo's going to check in now. Pierre is going to go ahead and take a stab at 350.
And Pierre definitely from the straddle here is going to have a significant range advantage on this board. It's just going to be tough. Like J-Lo's going to have a very wide opening range from the small blind. And so Pierre just going to be able to flat him with a bunch of stuff. I mean, J-Lo can have some 8s and some 7s, even some 2s and 3s, but he's just not going to be betting them usually. So, yeah, I think Pierre can just continue to put the pressure on, does get the desired result, wins with an inferior ace high. Well played, Pierre.
Yeah.
Any score developments in the football game?
20-7, Dallas Cowboys are winning
My goodness.
against Philadelphia. 7 minutes and 13 seconds in the second quarter. So
Let's go Dallas. All right, bringing it.
you ever been to an NFL football game?
I have been to several Denver Broncos games. Yeah,
Okay.
both like in Denver, and then also I got to see a preseason game between the Broncos and the 49ers in the Bay Area. That was
And
pretty
J-Lo has aces. Josh opens with queen, jack, offsuit, 125. J-Lo going to come in with the raise here. Bones with king, jack.
Yeah, given the positions here, cutoff button, and now Bones in the small blind. This is a great spot to go for a squeeze a lot of the time. Maybe not this time, but Bones is going to go for it. And I think given his holdings, this is going to be very standard. 950 here. Pierre's able to just let go of 9s like they didn't even exist. Back over to J-Lo, who's going to peek at his 2 red aces one more time. And stacked pot ratio here, if he calls, going to go to 2. I think a call here is perfectly fine in position. And honestly, I think is the preferred play for myself. If the stacked pot ratio, like let's say that Bones was the covering stack, then J-Lo could think about going for a small 5 bet potentially, just to make sure that all of the money could get in. But even then, like this could just be played as a call. Played in position, the chips can all get in the middle like very easily when the stacked pot ratio on the flop is 2. So let's see if J-Lo opts for the call. Here we go. 575 more. Does make the call. And Bones, little to his knowledge, does not want to hit a king, a jack.
Oh, and top set, second pair with the gutter for Bones.
Yeah, this is actually a really bad flop for J-Lo, unfortunately, because if his opponent has, like, anything, half of it is flopped Broadway, the other half is, like, a pair that isn't going to want to continue.
Yeah.
Bones is going to range bet here, though, as you usually will in a 4-bet pot. 800 here, small sizing, goes for a little over 1/3. J-Lo, of course, can just call in position. There's an alternate universe where you could min-click them, but it just really doesn't make a lot of sense to even do that. So, love the call. Another king on the turn, and Bones thinks he just hit gin if his opponent has ace-queen.
Yeah.
He has just taken the lead and can likely get paid. I suspect we're going to see another small bet with intentions of getting it all in on the river.
Yeah.
This could also just be a jam, though.
Yeah.
Under pot size.
The money is definitely getting in here, for sure.
J-Lo can't believe his luck, though. He's like, as long as you don't have 2 red kings, everything is just fine and dandy. Bones going to check. What's the other option here? To check and go for it on the river. J-Lo should check back. given the line of bet 1/3 check, your opponent is sort of just like shutting it down. You want to give him a chance to somehow catch up. But no, J-Lo can't help himself. He says, I've got top boat. I've just got to bet. We've got to get more chips in here. I think this is probably going to work, but yeah, because Bones isn't going to have any options other than pile it somewhere. 1.2K.
Yeah. I swear, if another king comes on the river, I'm going to do my best Greg Potter impression. Dude! Dude! Dude!
Dude! King of Hearts is live. We can see up in the upper right that the King of Hearts is a real card that does exist.
They're like trapping each other right now.
Well, I mean, Bones loses to some stuff.
Yes, he does.
That's for sure. 8 of spades on the end. Stack to pot ratio of 1/3. Bones here. We saw earlier when given this sort of spot where it's like, yeah, kind of marginal, but like if you're never folding, right? Mm-hmm. And he's going to check again, though.
He's going to go all in, and Bones is probably going to snap call. Seeing how much he has behind. Surprised he didn't know that earlier.
Nah, J-Lo just doing his bookkeeping.
Yeah, all in. Oh, Bones thinks about it. He does lose to several hands here.
Yeah. Bones also smart enough to know that his opponent can have aces here from time to time.
That's
so he did have to
get
think
away.
it through. But yeah, it's just a setup. That turn, it's just happening.
Yeah.
It's just happening.
Money got in on the river. I thought for sure the money would get in a little bit earlier, but I mean he got the max value that he could. Great just call on the pre-flop and also on the flop too.
Yeah.
Very, very much disguised his hand.
Yeah, and perhaps actually the sort of the tricky nature of how that hand was played is what led Bones to be a little bit suspect about what was going on and go for the check on the flop, or sorry, on the turn and the river there, and then also not just like snap it off, right? Like Bones could feel that something wasn't going well.
Yeah.
And Bones, very intuitive player, and has played this game a lot. He's going to understand when these spots come along that, you know, you're just going to lose, but when you know something's not right, you know something's not right.
Yeah.
Indeed, that was the case. However, J-Lo is going to get paid off. Almost a double up. Those two players not too different in chip stacks to start that hand, but J-Lo going to move up to, I think, just about the 10K mark there.
Mm-hmm. Super hard to fold for that price, too. I mean, Bones had the call, what, 1.9 and a pot that was going to go up to roughly 10K. I don't remember the exact numbers, so. I mean, when you got trips there, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hard position for Bones. It's just unlucky in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much me playing poker today. just unlucky.
Getting run over.
Yeah.
All right, Bones right back into the fire. Ace-Jack of hearts. He's going to 3-bet the button. And it's going to get that one through Mooch, who had opened the Queen-Jack suited from +1. Taking a look at the aggression frequencies here when Preston plays. He plays it fast. Bones, Pierre, and Mooch. Alex as well. All not too far behind. All up in the 30s, the high 30s.
Yeah, haven't seen much of Big Daddy Chaz today. I think it's been a little bit card dead. But
yeah.
He did have a hand earlier, so just not getting much to work with right now.
Yeah, I think we're on our third orbit, so yeah, still fairly early in the session, so plenty of time, plenty of hands to go, and plenty of Malibu shots to go as well. So maybe that'll get Big Daddy Chaz loosened up a little bit. Not much to do. All the way over to Bones in the cutoff with a couple of 7s. Open this one up, and Mooch got a hand he can defend the straddle with. He will. 340 in the middle. Heads up.
Ace 9 versus pocket 7s, 340. Equal in equity currently. And Bones is going to c-bet. We don't know the board just yet.
Whatever it is, it's good enough for Mooch to check call a bet of 150, just a shade under half pot. We are just waiting for the board to get read by the scanner in the table. Super producer Carolyn to click the button that says, "And poker shall happen." Get some pretty awesome promos here at TCH Austin. Got the quads of the day. The jackpot on that building up pretty healthily. I think it's up to 2,700 if I'm not mistaken. Oh, quads of the day will be over by the time this airs. However, as of Monday, like 2,700, and like new stuff is coming out all the time. It's great. We saw that there were a couple of hearts and an ace out there, along with a jack. So Mooch going to outflop Bones. That's why he went for the check call, because he has the toppest of pairs. 3 of hearts here now on the turn. Both players controlling a heart, if I remember correctly. Mooch's cards seemingly have been deleted, but yeah, ace of spades, 9 of hearts here for Mooch. Mooch going to check once more. Bones going to go to showdown with the 7s and lose. Mooch will drag that pot, 640. Put him up just a shade over 3K. Still sitting at the bottom of the chip stacks. Pierre, our biggest winner, sitting on just under 16. Alex chipped back up to 11.8. Seems to be a number he likes.
Now, there is a promo that we have right now that will be going all the way throughout the fall to December 22nd, I believe. Is $9 an hour from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from now all the way to December 22nd, only $9 an hour. 25% off from the regular 12.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that is always nice for sure. So come by to TCH Austin and come play. $9 an hour.
Get you some.
And Landon's going to go ahead and open here with ace-6 suited in the cutoff. Pierre is going to fold the 9 deuce, and Mooch wakes up with ace-queen. Definitely 3-bet this, and he is going to. The big sizing to 600.
Yeah, it goes for the 4x out of position. I think this is just fine. On his stack size, it is basically announcing to Landon, like, yeah, I pretty much got like a small continuation bet on the flop and a jam on the turn. So if you got something to work with, then we can play for it. Landon says, all right. Interesting hand combination to continue with here, given that Mooch doesn't have that much behind, right?
Yeah.
Like, you normally, if you're going to continue with a speculative hand, sort of like this one, you're going to want to do it when your opponent has a little bit of a deeper stack, so there's more for you to win. As it stands, Mooch is going to get outflopped, Landon with the bottom pair here, but not an inspiring pair if Mooch continues. Stacked pot ratio of 2. Mooch will continue for 1/4 here. Yeah, 3 and change. 320 maybe?
320,
yeah, 320. Landon can't fold for 1/4. And Mooch with just over 1 pot size bet remaining. 7 of diamonds now on the turn. And if Mooch just piles this, which I think is honestly just the only play, even though it just feels like, oh, I'm going to get snapped by King 10 or King Jack or whatever, right? Like, it just feels like that could be your life. You always have outs, and sometimes your opponent's just going to have a jack or like under pair, 9s or something, and they're just going to fold.
Yeah.
Like, actually most of the time. So Mooch should pile it in here. Landon will most certainly let go of the bottom pair. But let's see if Mooch can find the move.
Thinking it over. Looks like licking the lips.
Yeah.
But he's going to check. Oh, no,
Negative.
he's not going to check.
He's going to bet. And this looks, I guess, even stronger than the all-in, honestly.
Yeah.
At least from a bet sizing perspective. Yeah, Landon's like, okay, cool, you win. If you can bet that much of your stack and be ready to pile in crumbs on the river, then I guess you just got it. And honestly, that was probably just as effective as going all in.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you have a small stack there and you bet that much of your stack, it looks super strong because you're basically saying, like, you know, I've committed myself. You can come over the top, or we're getting it in on the river. So great play by him to continue there, because obviously if he checks, Landon's a good enough and capable player that he can take advantage of that on the turn, or even maybe on the river, or just check it down for showdown and win it with a 6.
Yeah, yeah. I think probably the differentiation between like betting 800 and going all in is like some bad jacks, like a suited Jack 10 is just going to be like, ugh. I mean, I guess I just have to call. And then if you go all in on the river, I guess I have to call then too. Whereas if you go all in on the turn, then Jack 10 can just be like, all right, cool, I fold.
It also looks super
but it's
valuable
borderline.
too. When you make a bet like that when your stack is small in comparison to the pot, it just looks super valuable. Like they want you to call, and then they want you to call again on the river.
Yep.
They don't want you to go away. Stay in the pot.
That's right. 3 bets here coming out of Alex in the small blind. Queen 10 of hearts. Big Daddy Chaz had opened the button on the $50 straddle here. And this is a 5X from Alex. And Chaz going to pick up on sizing tells. 5X is unusual. You don't usually see that. And if you have aces or kings, are you going to 5X me, bro? No, you're going to want me to stay in. And I have an ace, so get punked. Big Daddy Chaz hits him with the 4. And I think this is just pure street smart poker from Chaz, being like, people don't 5X when they have premiums. You want me to fold. And now Alex going to go through the process of folding slowly.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to keep your sizing consistent and not make it overly big or overly small, depending on the situation. Kind of like what we were saying when we were playing a tournament earlier. We had some of the older gentlemen at the table. They were like 8 or 11X open, and it was always aces or kings, but we didn't have that. It was a kind of like a limp call. It's pretty much like announcing this is how much, this is my hand here. But in this situation on this table, yeah, for sure, you're not doing 5X with aces, kings, queens right there.
Absolutely right. All right, we're going to move right along, and we'll call that just right now, just a tickle tip. Just a tickle tip with Aaron and David here in the booth. So hope you all are enjoying. We can't see how many of you fine people have reared back and smashed the like button, but I hope it's all of you. And hopefully you guys also learned something from watching us here on TCH Live out of Austin. I mean, all of the TCH broadcasts, I think, are done very well, but I particularly myself, for my own personal enjoyment, I like bringing forward my insight into the game to try to help other people sort of understand and digest and think about the depth of the game in the way that I do, because I just think it's fantastic. And I am by no means the best poker player out there, but I hope y'all are enjoying it and getting something out of it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the TCH Live crew. If you are not subscribed to the channel, we would encourage you to please hit that subscribe button, be part of the team. That'll help you accrue your TCH Live loyalty points every time you tune in to the broadcast and participate in the chat. So thank you guys for all that you do. And let's take on the next hand, shall we?
Yeah, it felt weird not saying, hit that like button and subscribe. We got a new subscriber.
I just had to get it in there because I could not talk about the likes.
Smash that like button and hit the subscribe.
Bones here, he's got the Stone Worst Steam Dola pair of 8s. 8 of diamonds, 8 of clubs. Ugh. Still going to try to make it work, though. The 8 of spades is still in the deck, so it could come out to give him the set, which is always lovely. J. Low here, sort of Interesting language with the body on that one. Looks away, slaps the 300 in for the 3-bet out of the third blind. This is up against an under-the-gun open. Bones not too pleased about it. Purses his lips just a little bit. Makes the call. King high board. Two-tone. J-Lo. Gonna be the king. Gonna have the best kings. I almost completely butchered the sentence that was formulating in my mind.
Words are hards.
They are. Just gonna bet 200 here. 1/3. Bones with effective second pair does have some funky backdoors as well, so he can continue. That's part of the funky backdoor. J-Lo has to decide if he's going to continue. He would need to go for a big sizing, 2/3 or bigger, but he's going to check. Bones now can safely check behind. No reason to build this pot if he's behind. And funky backdoor complete. Bones gonna runner himself, an 8 high straight. J-Lo gonna check once more. And now Bones, it's kind of like J-Lo has announced that he doesn't have a king, but Bones is going to target it anyways with a slight overbet. Says, if I can get called by anything, it's going to be a king. I may as well go big.
Yeah, Bones is obviously feeling good about that runner straight there, but he didn't know that he was actually ahead the entire way with his pockets 8s there. But totally agree with you. Trying to get value from maybe some kind of a medium to small king there with the overbet. But just did not work because he only had ace high in that situation.
Yeah, king 9, king 10 maybe could go checky, and then still look up a big bet there when the front door clubs miss. Having the 8 of clubs, while not the super relevant card, just a nice one for Bones to go for the overbet. It's going to have some weird, shitty clubs. Although having any 8, I guess, is a straight, so the 8 of clubs, not really relevant. So I take it all back. In any case, Bones goes for the overbet. Doesn't get it called. And we're on to the next one, which is a battle of the hearts. Bones and Landon here. And both players going to flop a pair. Top for Bones, second for Landon. Checky. Bones going to put the 6 kicker into his flop checking range. I like that. Can go for some value now. Probably bet a black chip. Yeah, there you go.
Landon's going to call with third pair.
Yeah, and this is a spot that Landon just knows that it's like, I call the 100, and then you bet the river, and I fold to any amount unless I pick up a 9 or a 10. And that's just the way poker is when you play balanced. But instead we go check, and then Landon is like, oh, you check? I could check and win. No, I can't. I can't. Both players picking up the heart flush draw on the river. Not good enough.
When are you flying out? You're flying out Friday to Vegas?
Friday. Yeah, end of this week.
Not driving, though. Not driving? Flying, right?
I am flying. I am not driving. So when I lived in New Mexico back in 2018 and 19, I did drive out to the WSOP those years. And while some of that drive, maybe the majority of that drive is pretty stupid and ugly and there's not much out there, there's actually some pretty cool stuff to be seen as well. So one thing in particular is northwestern New Mexico has geologically one of the most recent large eruptions in North America from a volcanic standpoint. So it's something like in the last 100,000 years, whatever, inside of very tangible time frame. So there's these massive lava fields that you just drive through. It's just black lava piled up along the highway. They just had to sort of move out of the way to make the highway.
Yeah.
And just the stuff that was just there. And there's some really pretty cool formations. There's some really cool lava tubes that you can go. There'll just be literally just someone has made a little lava tube thing on their property. Come and check out the lava tubes, and you go and you walk around in them. It's really cool.
That's like your go-to accent for almost everybody. Come on. There.
I mean, I think it's kind of specific to like somebody out in the country that's like, hey. Anyways, but you're probably not wrong. Yeah.
Your country, whatever, anybody wherever you're from.
Yeah, Pierre comes over here from Italy. Hey, I'm here from Italy. Fucking guys. Yeah. I don't know. Get off my lawn. But anyways, some very cool stuff there in northern New Mexico. And then you get over into Arizona, and there's a really cool stretch over there near some of the national monuments as well that I really enjoyed. So that was probably the most beautiful part of the trip. Really cool rock formations. You know, you get the big towering pillars of red rock and stuff. Pretty awesome. We've got a hand developing, but we don't know what the cards are. Two hands have already bet and raised, and Pierre now looks at ace-king. And this is one of these fantastic scenarios where this is all button, blind, and blind violence. Pierre puts in the cold 4 for 1K. J-Lo snap folds. Landon, though, with a decision. 650 to play this one out of position against the chip leader. He's going to make this call. And we'll have to get both hands scanned in, or we're going to just have to try to decide what we think they might have here. Pierre, of course, does have the ace-king, and mostly just Landon. We don't have scanned in.
And Pierre is going to continue here for, looks like a small sizing, about 575.
Yeah.
675, okay, like this.
Yeah, this is just totally standard 4-bet pot. Come in for a 1/3 continuation. You're going to have all the aces, kings, and queens. Pierre also quite pleased to have the king of diamonds. He's going to get check raised here, and this doesn't happen all the time.
Would really like to know what Landon has right now.
Well, Landon is definitely pigeonholing himself here. He either has a flopped set, which is just jacks, or he's got like wheel diamonds, right? Like because he's only going to have a set of jacks, he's not going to have, I mean, I suppose he could do it with ace jack and just be ready to get it in, but I'm not quite sure if that's part of a good check raising range. So I think it's going to be like wheel diamonds and top set. Yeah. So a little bit curious there, all things considered, but gets it through as Pierre does fold the hand, and we will never know what it was.
Yeah. May have to ask him later. Could have been queens. Could have flatted with queens.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's true. It could have been. And if it's queens, then check raise also makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I guess if it can be queens, it can also be aces and kings then too. So given the fact that the stack to pot ratio was so small, yeah, it could have been. He was uncapped. All right. I have convinced myself. But here we are, on to the next hand. Nobody with anything to continue, or even open with, I should say. Landon, though, is going to limp.
Queen 3 versus Jack 5 for a $60 pot. And nobody flops anything.
Whole lot of not much there. Yeah, that is true.
Neither one of them look very interested in this hand at all.
Deuce of spades. Yeah, Landon has the most reason to just sort of check and try to get to showdown. Does pick up the gutter, though. Chaz could have thought about maybe putting out a little probe there on the flop when checked too, but just done with it.
Pierre still here at the top, 14.2K. Alex and Chaz, and also J-Lo, 4 stacks above 10. And was it Mooch down there with 4K at the bottom there? Have you tried one of these Trulies, those drinks? It's kind of like one of them Topo Chico. I call them like a Topo Chico beers. You know, it's like carbonated or.
Yeah, it's a seltzer, right?
Seltzer,
so
yeah, there you go.
I mean, I've tried them. Pardon me. And there's so many different brands, so I mean, I guess I can't remember exactly if it was a Truly or what the last thing I tried was, but they're sort of just drinkable, but not anything special, right?
Yeah.
Like I like when I get a beer, I get like a sour or an IPA, maybe a porter, a stout, something with a lot of flavor. And so the Trulies or these carbonated things, like they're just kind of sweet. You know, it's just sugary kind of a taste. Maybe some of them are better than others, but I haven't dabbled that much. In any case,
Oh,
let's get
Alex
back to
with
the
a
poker
big
hand.
raise here. Landon opens at 75, and Alex comes in with the 3-bet of 475 with pocket sevens.
And this is the same dynamic that played out with Chaz. Slightly different positions, but not that much different.
And
Landon does just let it go. It's sort of more disciplined there than to come in for a 4. But once again, a large sizing that is just designed to get a fold and not sort of screaming value. It's always tough, though, right? Like, you got queen jack off, and the guy makes that huge raise, and you're like, you don't have aces, you don't have kings.
Yeah.
I know you don't, but, like, do I really want to use this hand to go to war with you, right? Because if I 3-bet you and you call, now I have to actually
You're like,
play the
"Damn
damn
it."
hand. I don't want to. This
You
hand
just want to take
sucks.
it down, yeah. Yeah, I don't drink a lot, but if I do, I love me a blue moon with an orange.
Ah, yes, I'm quite familiar with this. Drank a lot of Blue Moon and oranges back in my Colorado School of Mines days in this, Golden, Colorado, where the Coors Brewery is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a lot of very inexpensive Coors products to be had in that town, I will tell you that.
I bet.
Yeah, they were basically sponsors of all the students. We literally got free beer for walking through the doors of the brewery, so
That's awesome.
we all went there all the time. That was where we hung out. In between classes, like if you had an off period, or around like the lunchtime where they sort of staggered the periods to where there was almost always like an hour and a half period where there just weren't classes unless you had like a laboratory or something. You would just find most of the kids like just in the Coors Brewery drinking free beers. It was fantastic. Shout out to Coors for all the free beers that they've given me over the years.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And Pierre Rivers top pair here, trying to get value from 8s, 7s, 6s, and it's going to get value
And
from
ace
ace
high.
high instead. Max value there from Pierre.
Yeah.
And Pierre's still in the lead with almost 15K. Preston and the Mooch down there, and also with Josh in the 4K range. Bones, a little bit in the hole there with a big hand earlier with top vote versus trips, but definitely capable of making a big comeback.
Yeah, that was just a setup spot there for Bones. And right after he had just dodged what should have been like a crippling blow when he had
aces
ace
versus
king
king.
against
Yeah, ace king.
aces
Yeah.
on a king high board with 2 spades, like if Alex just puts his pedal to the metal there, Bones is just going to have put all the chips in. Maybe not like fist pump, let's go high five all in, but the chips would have gone in. Instead, it was like this weird checking battle, you know, like small bet on the flop, check on the turn, check on the river, like what on earth? And the chips just didn't go in.
Yeah, definitely.
Bones here, gets the ace king once again. This time he wins with it. Uncontested pre-flop. There it is. As we continue, TCH Live, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever edition it might be for you. For us, it's Monday, and the football game is still happening. Things are going sort of mediocre-ish for me.
Halftime. Third quarter hasn't started yet. Cowboys are still up 20-7 against the Philadelphia Eagles, which is a team I don't like at all.
Okay. Just as far as my fantasy teams go, I'm currently leading this matchup by 1 fantasy point, but I'm projected to lose by 9 because my opponent still has like Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, the Eagles defense up against my Devontae Smith. So the fact that they're down means that they're going to have to throw the ball. which means
And we got a hand here.
some things could happen. Anyways, we'll move back to poker and away from
Chaz
fantasy.
wakes up with kings. Oh, and Pierre flops 2 pair. He's going to go ahead and check it to the razor.
Pierre has been running quite good here tonight. Of course, he's not out of the woods yet, but is in a commanding lead. And in a great spot to get a lot of chips in the middle against one of the deeper stacks at the table. In fact, Big Daddy Chaz, I think, is the 3rd largest stack at the table. Pierre only covering him by about 5K.
There is a flush draw out there, but it looks like he is going to raise for the protection and also to get more money in.
Yeah, this is a 3-bet pot. So in 3-bet pots, raising with top 2 pair is going to be less like I control too much of the board. You're just going to fold all the time because your opponent's going to have those over pairs as well as like top pair, top kickers. That while you do block, they're still going to be part of their range because the range is so condensed. Anyways, with the flush draw out there as well, does put in that raise. Chaz will call. And Chaz needs a 4 or a king here to take the lead back. Seven of diamonds brings in a backdoor diamond draw. Pierre here with no clubs, no diamonds. Should continue, and for a large size here. 1.8K is about what I suspect he should put out there.
I was going to say 1.6 to 1.9. And he's going to make it a little bit more than that. Almost full pot of 2,000. Trying to charge the flush draws. Probably not any straight draws here outside of ace king and also kings and aces.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually pricing out the flush draws and just getting max value from the overpairs and top pair, top kickers. Big Daddy Chaz does have a hand that just cannot fold to another bet. 6K in the middle, stack to pot ratio just over 1 with Big Daddy Chaz, the effective stack. Brick City Knights here on the end, King 10 suited. Just got there. Of course, Big Daddy Chaz blocks 2 of those. The most relevant one would be the King 10 of clubs.
I think he's 100% going to jam here. Overbet jam. Trying to get the full stack of 7.6 from Big Daddy with the overpair.
Yeah, that is correct. I think that is the play. Going to make sure that that's the line he wants to take. And I suspect Chaz is going to take a little minute to think this one through, but I suspect his hand is just going to be too good to fold. Blocking the nut straight isn't super relevant because the only ones that would really opt to continue would be King 10 of clubs and King 10 of diamonds. You only block one of those. So one of the bluffs got there. One of the relevant bluffs got there. And then what else is Pierre going to check raise bluff with?
I mean, I think he can easily do this exact same line with clubs. Check raise on the flop, continue big on the turn, and then once you miss, turn your hand into a bluff on the river.
But it's got to be ace 10 of clubs. It's that's the only one. Like, I don't think, like, King 10 of clubs got there, so we'll take that out. Like, that is a relevant bluff card, but then it's ace 10 of clubs, and I think that's his only bluff that's still a bluff. And that sucks. That sucks for Chaz.
It's going to be really hard for him to get away. I think he's going to pay this off here. He's going to think about it because he's going through every scenario in his head, all the different combos. What are his bluff? What are his value hands? But I think ultimately, I don't think he's going to be able to let go of kings here. And if he makes this fold, that'd be an amazing fold.
Yeah, 9-10 of clubs could be argued that that someone could go for the check raise with that hand. It is a combo draw, has a lot of equity, but is also just 10 high. So certainly
Oh,
could.
nice fold.
And yeah, Chaz lets it go. You can see the look on his face is displeased with having to make that fold, but it is the correct one. So air 5, Big Daddy Chaz for getting away from that one. And I think it's the right fold. I mean, it's just tough, right? It's 9-10 of clubs. It's ace 10 of clubs, and then I just don't even think that any of the backdoor diamonds are going to go for it, right? Like ace 10 of diamonds. You really going to check raise that? 9-10 of diamonds? Maybe? It's just not many hands, and I just don't know that Pierre's doing it.
Yeah,
So.
you could tell he was slightly annoyed that he had to make that fold there, but I'm not. If he ever does rewatch this, great fold, Chaz. You made the right fold on that play, so good fold. Tough fold to make for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that hand and Chaz's ability to make the fold there illustrates the importance of recognizing, like, yes, we give our opponents credit for having bluffs. Like, we should do that, especially at a table like this, especially against an opponent like Pierre. But then you kind of actually have to find the reasonable bluffs that this dude is actually going to do it with, because he's just not going to show up with just random trash that he's like, well, I'm going to bluff with this one because I got some lava tubes out there to show the people and everything. So, you're just going to have to go with the information that you have, which is there just aren't many bluffs.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that go broke there, especially at the lower stakes. I don't think a lot of those players are folding kings over pair on that board.
Sure.
So great fold by him.
3-bet pot here. Landon, the 3-better, getting called in 2 spots. Bones and Preston coming along for a ride. Everybody going to flop backdoor flush draw and some overcards, except for Bones, who only has 1 over that's no good, and a backdoor straight draw. Landon will pick up another diamond here on the turn after it checks all the way through. And now could think about thinning the field just a little bit with a tickle.
Oh, yeah.
250 to 300, or just go
Bigger.
big. Okay. Says if somebody had something, they would have bet by now. So let's just price them out of a continue. And it works.
And he's going to show the ace of diamonds.
Yeah. That one was pretty good.
I like to play. Sometimes when everyone is just showing weakness and passivity, just make a big bet and take it down. I mean, even if he got called, he was drawing to the nuts with the nut flush draw there. And his ace, he probably thought his ace was probably good too. Even a queen. So a great play either way. Makes a big bet there to take it down. If he gets called, he still has a lot of equity and showdown value and can also get there on the river. And we're on to the next hand with the $25 straddle, as it has been throughout. We've seen the 50 every now and again, but not very much. Have we seen 100 today? I don't think we've seen 100.
The 100 hasn't come out. The 50 has been in play. Just a couple of hands. Just a couple of hands is all.
And it does not look like we are playing the 7 deuce game, since that has been folded.
Yeah, the 7 deuce is off. We did know that up front. We were curious if they were going to do the dealer change bomb pots. We did have one of those when Jesse entered the box. All right, raised to 60 here. Mooch in the cutoff. Preston will call the button with the queen 5 of clubs, looking to get himself into some hands here. Bones will complete from the 3rd blind. Queen 10 unsuited here for Mooch. So 3 ways to a flop. Monotone, king high. Bones the only player with a spade. Nobody with a pair.
Still nobody with a pair.
Everybody has a pair now.
You know, you know what I mean. Good one. Good one. I like that one.
Mooch.
Keeping me on my toes.
That's right. Mooch will just go ahead and bet and take that one down, and we'll move right along.
Sometimes you see people that do that when you go to a showdown. And I got 1 pair. And you're like, I do too.
Yeah.
And it's just you're playing the board, forward.
Or the 2 pair. It's usually, in my experience, it's usually the 2 pair. They got like pocket deuces and there's 2 aces on board. 2 pair. and like, you know, trying to like intimidate somebody into folding, I guess, a better hand. I'm not exactly sure, or just for the grins, but I do get that one a lot. Even Gordon will drop that one on me.
What do you think about that? Is that good for the game?
Oh, I think it's mostly just kind of harmless and silly, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're not paying attention and somebody announces 2 pair and
you
you don't
fold?
realize that, like, you have a pair plus the pair that's out there, and that makes 2, well, you should probably wait and see what they got before you muck your hand. Like, okay, you know, get them, got them, yay. But when Gordon does it to me and stuff, like, I just think it's funny because, like, you know, he's just a troll.
Oh, it's funny when there's like 5 hearts out there and I go flush, and then the other guy folds, and I'm like, we both have a flush.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're that guy. Pierre here is that guy tonight. He has won a bunch of hands. He's on 18K, and he now has number 1.
He's running great today, that's for sure.
And he's back in the mix here with Chaz. He's going to bet 100 here, and Chaz has a hand that just can't be folded for 1 bet.
Gotta make the call. Needs a 6 and a 6 only. That is not it.
Nope. Queen of diamonds. No help. Also, another overcard, which is going to help Pierre continue and Chaz to feel even less good about his hand. So it should get him sort of bailed out of this one. Yeah, he's not going to put any more chips in the middle. Pierre overbets and shows the ace of diamonds. Apparently that is the thing to do. If you have the ace of diamonds, turn it over. Let your opponents know. I had the one that mattered.
Maybe they're playing the ace of diamonds game. Have you heard of that game?
Well, but I don't see anybody throwing money at Pierre, so it doesn't seem like a very good game.
I don't know what the ace of diamond game is, but it looked like I just saw it twice. Maybe they're playing something we don't know about.
Yeah. The Dallas Cowgirls have scored another touchdown, so Philadelphia continues to move in the wrong direction for Eagles fans. 27-7.
There we go.
I need Devontae Smith to actually put some points on the board. He needs some catches, some yards, and some touchdowns because he's getting outscored by both Miles Sanders and Dallas Goedert and the Eagles defense. Like, come on, bro. You were the Heisman Trophy winner, first-round draft pick. Like, come on, bro. You can do it. Believe in you.
Alex is going to open with king, queen off, and ace jack from Josh is going to go ahead and raise it to 100. Alex is going to go ahead and looks like he's going to make the call. And we're going heads up.
The flop is jack of hearts, 8 of diamonds.
I think we are. There we go.
Heads up indeed. Both players going to hit a pair.
And that was a very fast check from Josh and another fast check from Alex.
Yeah, might get a little giggle out of that one. Checky. It says bet of 75, but I didn't see anybody bet. Did you?
Maybe they threw down 75 really fast.
Oh, could have been. Oh yeah, Josh was over there. So when it looked like a quick check, it was a slap in of 3/4, I suppose, or maybe that was a check on the turn. We moved right along to the river, so action moving along very quickly here. Alex is going to go for value, just 100 here on the end, and Josh will call and lose, and Alex will sort of win the minimum there, dragging a pot of almost 600.
Yeah, I really thought that was just a check, like really, really quick. Those are the 2 fastest checks I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We're having a good laugh about it, which is always great. It's always awesome when guys have never played together and you're having a really good time at the table. I understand with poker, you know, when you're playing, especially in a hand, you want to be super serious. But when you're not in a hand, enjoy it, have fun at the end of the day. And I think some people forget that when they're playing the game, you know. Just have fun.
Yeah, it definitely can happen as we've got ourselves a dealer change, which means it's bomb pot time. But yeah, it's like when I'm in a hand, if somebody's trying to like joke with me and have a good time or whatever, like I'm gonna shut you down. Like I'm just,
you were the most stone face of stone face, man.
Unless like freaking J-Stack got me the other night on the live stream table. It was on Thursday, and like I was in a hand, he was in the hand, and like he said something just completely absurd, and I couldn't contain it, right? Like I couldn't not laugh, and so I just was like busted up. and was in the middle of a hand, and it sucked. But you know, usually I'm able to maintain.
Well, if people don't know you, they probably think you're the most serious poker player of all time. But us that know you, yeah, we're trying to get something out of you. Like earlier today when I think I opened to 30 and you raised me 101, and I go, is that a misclick? Are you trying to make it 105, 110 or something? And like I asked you, and nothing. Just gave me nothing.
You get nothing. You get nothing. That was a fun hand for me.
For you. I bluffed on the wrong time, and then I was pot committed. But I had outs. Lost to you with kings.
Yes, indeed. Ooh, Landon, the only player that has a hand scanned in, has middle set at the moment. He's going to check it. Got some more checking happening. Big Daddy Chaz with top 2, also a check. A little bit interesting on a rainbow board here. I do understand that 2 pair is unlikely to win at showdown, but good enough to sometimes just bet and thin the field. However,
well, the last time Alex bet, he had absolutely nothing and just folded on the river. So I wonder if he's trying to do it again.
It was checked to him twice on the button. True. So, like, I get it that he went for it, but then didn't turn his nothing burger into a bluff on the end. Like, I think I would have liked to see that. However, as you say, bet a 200 from Alex, this time under the gun. Under the gun, of course, is just really like 4th to act on a bomb pot. J-Lo will continue. Landon will continue. And Chaz with the top 2. Just going to get out of there. Five of hearts here on the turn blocks Landon's further boat outs. Not what he wanted. Alex has the Omega wrap. Didn't even realize that Alex had such a strong holding. Makes sense why he led out.
Yeah, pocket 5s folded earlier, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Alex is going to pot this. Once again, he's got the the just stones on a straight.
Set up on the live stream.
Pretty much any card, literally any card 7 or above is that's not a Jack 10 will give him a straight. So he's going to fire full pot. J-Lo does not have cards scanned in. I mean, hell, it's actually, yeah, any card above a 6, I should say, because a 7 gives him a straight. So any card above a 6, it's not a Jack or a 10, is going to give Alex a straight.
I just love that hat, especially when he's in a hand and he has a super serious face. He's just like, it's just like they're about to go shoot.
Yeah, yeah. Draw, partner.
He wore the perfect hat.
Thinking about it, but he's not going to draw. And Landon here, blocking his own boat outs with that 5 out there. He's going to go ahead and ship this. He's going to pot this. And, wow. I mean, he's attacking the hand that Alex has, basically, but, like, given the fact that if you're up against a wrap like this, maybe he doesn't know he's got the Omega wrap, right? Like,
yeah.
If it's just like King, Queen, 9, then it's going to be better than a coin flip. But, I mean, you can see the equities here. This is just a stone coin flip. And piling all of the money in for a coin flip is a little bit suicidal. Maybe just action-y. I don't know. Not suicidal, but just, you know, really getting after it. Because the other hand that your opponent does this with is top set. And top set would be happy to pile all the money in with you. And Landon doesn't have any other draws, so this is just a stone, like, boat/quad draw, right? Like, if he's behind, he just needs quads to get bailed out. Alex, though, now just has to decide if he wants to play for it all, because this is 2,400 more to see a river. And if he hits, what are the chances that he gets paid for the rest of it, right? Like, I think he has to decide now if he just wants to play for it all and just repot it.
Mm-hmm.
Which with this hand, literally, like, half of the entire deck just helps you.
Mm-hmm.
and gives you probably the stones. If your opponent does have a backdoor heart draw, it's going to remove some of your outs for sure. That could be painful in terms of your equity stake, but Alex clearly didn't have plans for what happened when he got check repotted.
He's going to make the call. The thing is, if the straight gets there and Alex, you know, goes all in, pots it, whatever, he may not get max value from Landon. And that's the only problem with not going all in on the turn there, is that it allows Landon to fold. And that is not the card that he wanted. So he did save money by not potting it, because Landon was calling with second set.
Yeah. Yeah, and Landon now gets to bet 720 here on the end. Just, oh, no, it was all in. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, 720. Yeah, just tickle it. See if you can get him to call with anything. But shows the set of tens, chips the pot, and that's going to chip him up 7.2K in the black.
Yeah, and that puts Alex in 8.8K in the red. He definitely saved himself money there by not going all in. But if he did go all in on the turn and his card got there, he would have got the absolute max. So it's hard to say which is the best position if you're being results-oriented, but just sucks that the card didn't get there. Man, he had the mega wrap for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, certainly when he did get repotted, like, in terms of his equity, he can call all day and every day of the week, because he was getting 50% pot equity, and he only needed to put in a quarter of what the pot was going to be, right?
Yeah.
He put the 2.4 in, and it went up to whatever it was, 9.6. So, yeah, I mean, you could definitely call there, no problem, in terms of getting a good price, but you, probably just miss out on all of the additional value by not going all in. In any case, that hand's over. Let's move along. Alex limping the 5-4. UTG Mooch here next to act with the ace queen of hearts. He's going to raise this up. Here looking down at the worst version of the queen jack. And Alex has to decide if he wants to jump back in and do battle with this 5-4 suited. He says, hell yeah, I do. Let's go.
And he's just saying, keep the board low, keep the board low, keep the board low.
Well, he wants to make a straight, you know, or
Yep.
something like ace 2-3. Like, let's do that, you know. But it's not to be. No clubs. No ace 2-3. In fact, he's got a whole lot of nothing.
Backdoor straight, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, Mooch didn't have much either with just the 2 overs, backdoor hearts, and a Broadway draw, but shows the ace of hearts. I guess that's the thing. It's just show an ace, whether it's the ace of diamonds or not.
Yeah, that's been 3 consecutive times now that someone just bet and then showed the ace and then moved on over to the next hand. So, guys, if you're watching, again, this we're not live streaming because we have another stream going on in the Dallas area. But go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. And we have a great promo of $9 an hour Monday through Wednesday every week from now all the way until December 22nd down here in Austin, Texas. So $9 an hour, normally $12 an hour. So 25% off. Least expensive to play in the Austin area. So come out to TCH, play some cards, and we look forward to seeing you.
Hells yeah.
Is that, you know if that's happening in Dallas too?
Oh, they do their own promos. So, yeah, if you're a Dallas resident, definitely go on the TCH website, TexasCardHouse.com. Go ahead and navigate to the Dallas or whatever other location is nearest to you webpage, which is going to be all at the top of the screen when you get to the TexasCardHouse.com website. And it'll have information on all of the cool promos that are being run at the location nearest to you. 5-10-25. Mooch here, 7 deuce. No love for the game. Just going to step out of the way. Jay Lowe here with a couple of sailboats. Time for a raise.
Landon looks like he wants to get in there. Don't know what he has just yet. Looks like he's coming in for a raise, though.
Yep. 3-bet on the button here. 275 to go.
Landon's a really fun and social kid. I've played with him several times while he's been here in Austin. I didn't realize how young he was. He's only 22 years old.
22 years old. Yeah, Landon just sort of bursting onto the scene, coming out of seemingly nowhere and really making a name for himself very quickly.
Yeah, he won that big tournament, I think a year or so ago or something like that. And then he played Bill Perkins in that heads-up challenge. Obviously does a lot with Matt Berkey in the Solve for Why. So got a little following going on. But nice kid, fun to play with, and definitely good at the game.
Yeah, cool guy for sure.
Super tall, too. Very tall.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the pleasure of hanging out with Landon and Poker Bunny and a couple of my buddies that were in town the other night. Had Stephen Tice and Mike Perroni here in town and got to go out and have some drinks and some snacks with those guys. It was a nice time. But, yeah, as far as I know, Mike.
Who's the coolest, or what's the coolest experience you had at WSOP in the previous years? Like, did you play with someone at the table? They're like, "Oh my God, I've been watching you for years." You're like a big pro or anything like that?
So, I mean, over the years, I've definitely had other poker players that I've respected, and I would say that there was definitely a time during my earlier poker years where I would have been like a little bit starstruck by seeing like Daniel Negreanu or something. Didn't really have anything quite like that. Like I played at the same table with like Eric Seidel and a couple of other like big name players, right? Like people that you know, AJ Kelsall, like plenty of bigger names. And so I've gotten a little bit more just kind of used to it. Like, oh shit, there's somebody else like there that I know, and that's pretty cool. But that I guess that isn't the sort of experience that jumps out at me in terms of my fondest memory. My fondest memory was making a deep run in a $1,500 event and being down to the final, like we were down to the last like 7 tables or something, and there's just this like buzz, right? Like you can just feel the energy of like one of us, like, you know, 70 people or whatever, one of us is going to be a bracelet winner for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, I ran into just kind of a standard cooler type situation and got bounced out. But, yeah, that was probably the coolest. Just being that close to a bracelet, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely an amazing feeling. I've typically been a cash player for most of my poker playing days, but over the last year, I've been playing tournaments more and more, and I definitely want to start playing them more and more. It's just a completely different feel, especially when you have a scheduled tournament on your schedule and you go to play. Just like I was telling you earlier, it just feels like game day. You know, like you're ready to get in there and battle. And it's just a completely different game, and every single hand matters, and it's just fun. And so I want to do it definitely a lot more.
For sure. All right, Big Daddy Chaz here on the button facing this open from Pierre in the cutoff. Going to take the Queen 9, 3-bet it. Do you think the Queen 9 suited plays better as a 3-bet from the button up against the cutoff? So I like this. Pierre's hand still not scanned in quite yet. He's going to make the call. So he's going to take one more peek. We'll see if we get a peek here in a moment. King and 2 6s out there. Pierre, natural check over to Chaz, who does have a hand that's going to benefit a lot from just betting and winning right now. King, obviously very good for his range, can pick up additional equity on a lot of turns, so he puts out the C-bet for 150, gets the call. Off to a turn. Pierre checking once again. 640 in the middle. It's an 8 of clubs. Not an inspiring card for Chaz. However, he does still have the range advantage, but he is going to check and give up now. And River's second pair. Pierre has value. This is the time to bet. So when he checks, Chaz could actually go thin here, as Pierre unlikely to have a king or a 6.
And he is going to go probably around, let's see, make it
Yeah, it's going to be some half pot, maybe even a little under. Well, a little over half pot, 450 here. And if Pierre has like pocket sevens, pocket fives, this is going to just be kind of a like, ugh. This card's so good for you, but like, you checked the turn. You're going to bet this all the time if you have ace, jack, ace 10, because you can get me to fold pocket sevens and pocket fives, so he may just have to look it up. He's reaching for the calling chips, puts them in, and I suspect he's going to get shown the bad news, which is a queen on the river is good, and Pierre indeed does muck. So probably pocket sevens, something of that nature. Looking at the VPIPs, Bones, Landon, and Pierre all tied for first place, 28%, although we haven't seen too much from Bones recently. He played a whole rush of cards there for a minute. Josh down there in the single digits, well below the Lottie line at 8%. Taking a look over at these fantasy scores, my team is getting whacked. Down by 4 fantasy points, and Devontae Smith just not doing anything. They are in the red zone. I need him to throw touchdown to Devontae Smith, please.
You have Phillies defense?
Say what?
You have Phillies defense?
No, my opponent has Phillies defense.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
It looks like they're just getting smashed on by the Cowboys. 27-7, 7:38 in the third quarter.
Yeah, the problem is that the Eagles had a fumble recovery touchdown. So even if they get like into negative point territory from getting just wrecked for the point total, they're always going to have that like 9-point buffer or whatever it is, 6-point buffer, some crap. So anyways, just not ideal for my fantasy. In that league, anyways, I'm going to be 3-0 in my other league, and in this one that I'm still sweating tonight. If I lose tonight, I'm going to go down to 1-2, which is not going to feel good.
Yeah. I'm undefeated so far in fantasy
Undefeated.
because I'm not playing.
Oh, that was the worst joke ever. I'm going to throw this empty fireball at you. Fireball. Fireball.
It made me laugh.
Good.
I was surprised you didn't get it because you asked me if I wanted to play earlier, and I was like, no, they don't really do fantasy.
No, I felt it coming, and I hoped you wouldn't do it, and then you did, and now I just kind of want to die.
Oh, God.
No, it wasn't that bad. I'm kidding, of course. It was very clever. Landon here, king, queen, offsuit, raised to 75. Mooch makes the call from the small blind and now appears to be donking out, or perhaps we've already made it yeah. 6 high flop, and he donks out to take it down. Curious. Shows the jack of diamond. I guess we're showing one. Maybe that's what we're doing. It's just always show one.
Pierre's still in the lead with 17.3. Just been running pretty pure in this entire stream. Preston down there with 3.6. On to the next hand we go. If you guys are watching, feel free to give us a like and a subscribe. Definitely helps the channel, and we really appreciate it. We're also on Twitch as well. Texas Card House on Twitch. So if you're into the Twitch game, check that out as well. Bones into the gun, gonna go ahead and fold. He hasn't had much hands lately since that King Jack versus Aces hand.
Shout out to Esther for making the final table.
Yeah.
Big local tournament as well. Fantastic showing from a lot of players, local players here. Alex with Queen Jack of clubs, gonna raise this up to $75. J-Lo from the straddle makes the call. Ace, deuce, 3 rainbow. Alex here, gonna go ahead and continue when check to J-Lo. Still no cards scanned in just yet.
Don't know what J-Lo has just yet, but he calls the 50, going to the river. And we have...
Yeah, check the turn. It was the queen on the turn, not the 4, so we
Okay.
missed that card. Queen of spades not getting
There it
read
is.
in. Alex picking up the pair of queens, checks the turn back, and J-Lo leads the river for 100 here, and Alex is just going to have to call this. And I say that, and he folds. Second pair. Show 1, and it's an ace. Okay, so, I mean, good fold, I suppose, from Alex there, getting away from paying that off, but all things considered, second pair, given the action, I think is just far too strong to fold, but he disagrees. On to the next one, pre-flop raise, Josh. Rounding things out down there at the bottom, 6%, all the way up to Landon at 24.
Good game, Steven.
GG Steven Tixe, indeed.
Mr. Delivery, who's been on from Chicago area and has been on the live stream here at Texas Card House, just took 9th place in a big local tournament for over $28,000. So congratulations to Mr. Delivery, a.k.a. Steven, with the new haircut.
Yeah, looking sharp, looking fly. Alex here looking like he wants to raise this up. Ace 9 of clubs, 75 bucks to go. Mooch emphatically folds his hand.
Josh is going to call it with ace-10 from the small blind, and J-Lo is going to fold, and Bones with 7s. Easy call.
Yeah, the ace-10 actually just folded.
Yeah. Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah. I believe, unless I... Yeah. Alex here going to outflop Bones with third pair. Bones here does have a gutter, and Alex checks, so Bones gets to see a free turn card, deuce of spades. Quick check once again, and a 7 on the end. Bones will make trip 7s, and Alex now facing this $100 bet on the end is just, I guess, ready to just throw away these hands with no resistance. And he is. He's going to just let it go again, and once again, sort of save himself $100.
Yeah, I guess he just never liked that jack or 10 on there with the third pair with the 9 there. Sure, Bones wished that was a much bigger pot, but if it was a bigger pot, he probably wouldn't have got to the river. So, and moving on to the next game. If you guys have not been to Austin, definitely a beautiful time weather-wise to come see the city and also play a little bit of poker. So come on down to Texas Card House up at the North Austin location. Play some poker, have a drink, eat some good food, and enjoy the nice weather. Like and subscribe if you have not already.
Alex, you're just over it, huh? You're just over it. You didn't fold yet. Oh, sorry. No, it didn't.
Big Daddy Chaz here. UTG1 on the Jack 10 offsuit coming in for a raise. It's going to be a little bit on the splashy side. Gets called by Landon from the blind, the straddle, I should say. Jack 7 off. So battle of the bad jacks here. 165 in the middle. Landon checks it over, and Chaz continues for 75. That'll get the job done and very quickly end the hand. Ace high board there. Big Daddy Chaz just gets to c-bet his gut shot to Broadway. And hand number 64 coming on up here. Let's check the time. What are we on here? 9:34 local time. Means that we've got just about an hour and a half left in this broadcast / recording that you all will be enjoying on Monday or Thursday or some such night that ends in day.
One of these days.
One of these days.
One of these days we'll be on there. Big Daddy Chaz with 2 drinks in front of him. Wonder if he's drank both of those yet or just holding them for later.
I know you like decently well, and you like talking shit, dude. Like, we're just gonna go at it. I love it.
Preston here hasn't played a hand in a little bit, so ace-9 off in the hijack, good enough for an open.
And Alex is playing pool. When he doesn't have a hand, he's out there playing pool.
That's right. You got to stay fresh. You know, if you aren't practicing, then you're gonna fall behind. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen that before. A guy played the stream, folds, and then goes back to playing the pool.
Heck yeah, man.
Same here in Austin, but the games are due on Monday, apparently around this.
Pierre here still sitting up there with the strong chip advantage over the rest of the table. 5, 10, and 25 here for our next hand. Alex going to have to put down the pool cue and come back. How do you feel? Does it, like, sort of step on a nerve or whatever when people have their stacks just sort of, like, loosely placed around, like Alex has there? Or do you not really care? Some people.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I don't really. Now, if they're just like all over and not stacked, you know what I mean? I think the rule is you have to like stack them, but
Okay.
I don't really care. I'm kind of a minimalist by nature, so I'm always like coloring up, and I have like the least amount of chips as possible for the most part, and I always have them in super order. But that's just me.
Yeah, for me, I guess, so.
I just want the big ones in the front, and every time they put them in the back, I always feel like I'd be like, dude, can you ask that gentleman over there to put him in the front? And it's always the same guy. They keep putting him in the back, putting him in the back. I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or they just forget or what. But
I think most people not. I think my experience has been that the sort of like more recreational fun player that's there just to have a good time, they put their small denomination chips in front because those are the ones that they're more comfortable betting.
Yeah.
And so that's just sort of what occurs. It's not an intentional, like, I'm going to put these out and block these ones behind so nobody knows I have this stack of black chips back here. Yeah.
It's just usually at a table, it's always like the same guy that the dealer has to remind like 3 or 4 times. And some dealers pick up on that and they'll remind it beforehand without someone telling them. And some dealers, you'll be like, hey, you got to nudge him. Be like, I don't know how much he has. Can you kind of throw it out there for me?
Sure.
Please? But anytime I'm making a bet or playing heads up with someone, I always like to know what they have anyway.
That is a good thing to have in the back of your mind anytime you're in a pot with somebody, that is for sure. All right, these 3 players, it appears. Nope, Pierre, not in there. So we're going to go heads up to a flop here. Bones calling Mooch's open. 140 in the middle, king high board, hearts and a spade. Mooch hasn't gotten his cards scanned in just quite yet. Bones sitting on just the ace high, no clubs in sight. So 1 over and a backdoor Broadway, bet a 35. This is a tickle if I've ever seen one. Yeah, Bones can't fold pretty much any 2 cards for that.
Absolutely disrespectful.
On to a turn, Jack of Diamonds. Bone's going to pick up a pair.
We're serious. We're serious. Okay, it's not fine. All right. We're serious fucking grinders here.
Checky, checky to a river. Deuce of spades. Pairs the bottom card. Front door hearts miss. Mooch going to go for the really small bet, check bet line. And another small bet. Bone's going to snap him. And
King 8. Yeah.
is
so
that
that's
right? That's a king under there? Oh,
Yeah.
king no kicker. Okay. All right. Yeah, Bone's just going to have to pay that one off for sure. Wished that some clubs could show up, as it looked like that was the king 8 of clubs.
Made a little bit more sense now. He made a really small bet, check turn, and then got a little bit of value from the jack on the river. A little bit more sense with the. It's always nice when you have top pair, but not when you have not the greatest kicker in the world. So played it somewhat slow, but still got value there on the river.
All right, 5, 10, and 25. Pierre with a truly in hand. Going to be on the button here, making sure his pink chips and plaques are all neatly organized. Preston here, first to act. Go ahead and ditch his hand. King, deuce of hearts, not good enough up front.
Hey, I'm here, guys.
Josh here with a couple of Judies, though. UTG1. He's going to open this up. 75 to go now.
Two hands. I'm sorry, guys.
Folds over and around a mooch in the straddle. Ace-9 offsuit can defend this, but he decides not to against the UTG1 open.
Jack's only, guys.
And
Jack's better.
there you go.
He was like the only one upset that, like, man, I had jacks. Nobody wanted to play with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and Josh is sort of our least aggressive player here in terms of hands played, right? Like his VPIP is down in the single digits, and so yeah, facing this like early position open from a player who hasn't played much, and you have ace-9 off. Yeah,
You may have
just ditch
to
it.
rename it to the Josh line.
The Josh line. I mean, you'd hate to do that after one stream with the poor guy. I think Will had enough data points that we could pretty clearly establish the 15% line as the Lottie line. All right, Josh here putting on the $75 open, ace jack offsuit.
We're giving the benefit of the doubt.
He just got that last one through, so he's going to hop right back on the horse. Pierre here, though, 10-9 suited. Says, nah, you're probably getting a little bit too big for your britches. Gonna 3-bet this. 225 to go. Big Daddy Chaz next to act on the button. Just gonna ditch the king queen off. It was definitely a cold 4 or fold, and not having an ace makes it less likely to feel very good about that one.
Pair still top of the leaderboard with 17.4, landing behind him way back on 11. And Preston and Josh down in the 3K
If anyone wants to
mark.
where are y'all from?
7 left.
We're both from Vegas.
And a local tourney here.
Almost fell for that one.
All right, 5-10, 25. I see you.
Are you still in the steps? The steps tournament here at TCH?
Well, so steps is sort of wrapped around. So we had the WPT Step 3 tournament. I cast that a couple of Sundays back. And so the winner of that one is going to battle against the winners of all the other WPT Step 3 tournaments from around the area and around the country that were involved in that. So, but now there's like a new quote-unquote like season or whatever. So the winners of these next Step 2s are going to be getting the new sort of the new season of rewards, which is you win a WPT Step 2 tournament, you're going to get a 5K package for a WPT main event at various locations around the country. So pretty cool stuff.
Looks like we're losing 2 players. Okay, I think we got some people on the list. Trey and some. He's still here? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, J-Lo and Josh, thank you guys for joining us. Nice to have you. Nice playing with you earlier today, and good showing here tonight. Both of those players, I think, having a decent showing, if I don't remember incorrectly. But we will see if we can get those seats filled here momentarily. As for the moment, we're going to continue along as we get one more nice look at J-Lo's cowboy hat there.
That was a great hat. Perfect hat to play while in visiting Texas, for sure.
Absolutely. Alex here getting frisky in the cutoff. He's got the J-stack 6-3 suited. Says the bone's called. That didn't happen. Would not happen. Has never happened. 10-4 offsuit.
You want a Topo Chico?
You know what? I will do another Topo Chico as well. Yeah.
I'll go grab one. I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right. Landon here going to flop top pair 10 kicker. Alex here with backdoor straight flush draw. Picks up 5 here. Is going to give him an up and down straight draw. Flush draw, no good.
He's going to go ahead and fire out. I see a pink chip in there, so this is an over bet to the pot. 725 after Landon checks the turn, and Landon going to go for the check call here. Alex not too pleased about getting looked up there. He says, give me a deuce or a 7, please. That is neither. Ace of spades is a hand, or is a card that he could conceive of betting big. Bet quite small on the flop, then bet really big. Maybe just represent like some busted diamond draw that now just turned into a top pair and go for value. Just bet like 800 and just see if you can get that one through. Not sure if that would work, but I don't really know what a big bet accomplishes here. 1.4K. It's 2/3, I suppose. It's not the largest, but Landon's going to look it up. Yeah, I mean, big sizing here. Landon with a disguised top pair on the flop, and you just don't fold those when your opponent sort of gets frisky around the turn and river. You're going to get printing chips. When the front door diamonds missed, your opponent just doesn't always have the ace of diamonds, right? Like they can be repping some other stuff, and sure enough, Landon takes no time whatsoever to make that call. Maybe just a brief moment to ensure that he had the right chips or the right number in his mind, and just goes ahead and puts the call out there. All right, moving right along here on to the next one.
Nobody wants to sell dollars, do they? I might be too short to...
5, 10, and 25. Big Daddy Chaz gonna be first to act here. Counting and shuffling some chips. Here we go, 75 now.
I can keep playing if I win. Otherwise I'm gonna lose. I mean, you have like 100 bigs, right? Yeah.
I ain't doing that. I'm trying to send it all in or go home.
Queen, Jack of diamonds for Big Daddy Chaz. Pierre gonna complete from the straddle, heads up to a flop. Pierre once again going full DQ on us, not scanning in his cards. Big Daddy Chaz is going to miss this. It's a nice board for his range. He's going to continue with a gut shot to Broadway. No diamond draw or even a backdoor. Bet a 75. Check call from Pierre. And Chaz here, he blocks ace queen, ace jack. If his opponent has a king, he could probably just push him off of it right here. Goes 2/3, just 200 now. Pierre going to take another peek and fold. So sure enough, there we go. Big Daddy Chaz going to go ahead and get that one through. Thank you very much, David, bringing back the goods. All right, all right. All right, so Big Daddy Chaz gets that one through. We'll shuffle up for the next one here.
2 seats, live stream.
Taking a look at the chip counts once again. Pierre here, 17.2K. Healthy winner here tonight. Landon also up over the 13K mark. Buying in initially for just 4,000, so Landon running good here. Bones early on running into a couple of tough spots. Did have to reload. Several of our other players here have spent a little bit of time sort of yo-yoing up and down. As it appears we have another player, Alex, here going for the racks, as he too will be taking leave before the end of the stream, it appears. Once again, I know Trey was here earlier, maybe another player or two that was interested in hopping on. John G was around, but we'll find out if those seats will be occupied. We may be playing a little bit of 6-7-handed poker here for a minute. Could get things a little bit spiced up. Landon here, he's going to spice things up in the small blind. Ace-King offsuit with a 3-bet to 450. Preston makes the call from the cutoff with 5-3 of clubs. is going to play this one in position. Going to try to style on Landon once again. Made a sort of speculative call against Landon earlier. We got a jack-high board, all spades. Landon with no spade. Opts for the check. Preston not going to take 5 high and turn it into a bluff. He's going to check back here. 8 of diamonds gives Preston an up and down straight draw. Landon checks once again. And Preston now with 935 in the middle. He's going to come in for 600. And Landon's hand is just no good to continue. And glad that Preston did step on the gas there at some point there, putting the bet out there on the turn. Needed to bet with the 5 high to get the job done. Does so on the turn.
Yeah. So went and saw if there is a list. There's a list of 5 players, but I think only 1 or 2 of them are here. Trey is gone.
Oh, okay.
So they are looking to see if we can get someone on there. Austin is here, who got 4th place in a big tournament earlier, and I was like, "Yo, you want to play in this game?"
I know. Austin, we should definitely get Austin in there, but the problem is that's not the first time I've heard you say that. Super producer Carolyn also trying to get Austin to play, but he's just not having it. He doesn't want to be under the lights, you know. Everybody watching.
You know, he just wants to earn them. He wants to get final tables over and over and over.
Yeah, that is the best way to.
That's
get
how I got
onto.
first on a stream. Final
Yeah.
table.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Chaz is going to go ahead and raise to 75. Don't know what he has just yet. Looks like Mooch is going to call. Yeah, I went down there to grab drinks, and Pierre was like, "Hey, seat open."
Trying to get you in there?
Yeah, so I could go back and forth. You go play?
Super producer Carolyn wants somebody to tap in so she can go fire it up. Let's take another look at the V-pips now that Josh is out of the mix. We have no more single digits in play. Big Daddy Chaz at 17%. Landon up at 28. Obviously not a dig on Josh, just a matter of card distribution for the most part. As we continue along here, 5, 10, and 25. Currently playing 6-handed.
6? We lost another one? Oh, where'd Alex go?
Alex also had to rack it up.
Someone probably wanted to play pool against him or something.
It could be. Bone's going to come in here for an open UTG. 75 now to go. And 6-handed, the dynamic changes a lot because under the gun is now just actually the hijack. So your opening range changes a ton compared to your traditional under the gun opening range. And subsequently, we'll have a lot more 3-betting and a lot more defending with sort of mediocre type holdings. Preston here, happily going to defend in the straddle. Queen 9 of hearts. Bones here doesn't have his hand scanned in, but this is the board that belongs to Bones. So he can bet 75 with impunity, and Preston here with just the queen high. A solver might tell him that he should call a street and sort of see what develops, but he is just going to let that one go. And Bones will drag the pot.
They wanted to change the game. And I was like, I don't think it's fair for the guys in the main game.
2 all-ins.
All right, shuffle up. We'll get the next one out here.
So are we still? We are still doing the 25. Okay, with 6, yeah. 5, 10, 25.
Yeah, the 5, 10, 25 with the mandatory 25 is just sort of the standard now. With the 50s coming in, you know, people agree to a round of 50s, or all the stacks get deep and everybody's just kind of having a good time and like, yeah, let's pump these rookie numbers up and put the 50 on all the time. But as of right now, sticking with the $25 straddle, Landon here, UTG / hijack. He's going to open this. 75 to go. And that's just going to get it done.
No flop required.
Let's see. Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are now crushing them. 34-14. That is definitely always good. Did you see Justin Tucker had the NFL, made some NFL history yesterday with
I watched it as it happened. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was playing the tournament. We're deep into day 2. There was a big pot developing that I was not in. So I'm watching the TV like over one of the guy's shoulders that's in the hand. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is it. Like Justin Tucker for all the marbles here, 66-yarder, NFL history and the game. And like Tucker kicks it, it's on the line, and like you hear the whole room, like everybody in the room was sort of just like casually watching and then saw this moment develop, and you just like could hear everybody take a collective breath in. Hits the crossbar and bounces through. Everybody saw it like hit the back net, and it was just the whole room was like, whoa! Like it was sick that everybody saw it as it happened. It was really freaking cool.
Yeah, he's from Austin, went to Westlake High School, same as our Westlake Matt. Went to UT, my alma mater, and went undrafted in 2012. And now he's one of the best kickers in the league and now has an NFL record. So he's just been crushing it ever since he's been in the league.
Yeah, probably, I mean, the consistency over the time period that he's been in the NFL, the guy is just like the GOAT, right, when it comes to kickers. So, I mean, that's pretty cool to be the GOAT of anything, but especially just, you know, drilling field goals like that.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. All right. Got the 25 out there and folding happening over and around to Bones. He's going to take a peek down at the old ace-king of clubs.
I think he's had ace-king 3 times today.
At least, yeah. He's going to raise this up to 100. Landon next to Acton, the big blind, is going to take a 10-9 offsuit combo and 3-bet it. So Landon going to go ahead and mix this one at a low frequency. And Pierre is going to respond with the cold 4 out of the straddle. And Bones is like, all right, flashbacks to losing a lot of chips with ace-king. But now he's suited. And while you can sometimes justify flatting ace-king offsuit and just sort of playing it a little bit passively, ace-king suited, if you're gonna 5-bet your aces and your kings, like there's not very many combos of that. You gotta mix in your ace-king suited. Yeah, so Bones is gonna pile it. And Pierre here, not pleased.
Yeah, judging by his face, Pierre probably has jacks, queens, ace-queen, 10s. Which just not loving it.
But perhaps also just not able to fold,
Yeah.
given his hand strength. If he's got queens, this is just a spot where you're kind of like, I guess I'm giving some back. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. Pierre
And
up
he's gonna
big,
fold.
but he's
God, I
going to
wanna
let
know
it
what he
go.
has.
Yeah, Pierre giving us a real good good sweat by not letting us see his cards. Consistently not putting them over the scanner there. Oh, it's a deck problem? Interesting.
Oh.
Super producer Carolyn saying that it's a... Okay. Well, it's very consistently Pierre, though, for at least for us, that we're not seeing it. A Pierre problem. Okay, it could be. Either way, Bones happy to get that one through. Yes, he had ace-king suited, and nobody hates that hand. Well, almost nobody. But, yeah, to just win with it pre is, that's a pretty good feeling, that's for sure.
Yeah, I got it all in earlier and lost to Prestige with jacks. Ace. Oh, look, there's Alex. I told you he was playing pool.
Wow, right
got a
you
pool
are.
game
So
going.
Alex had a pool game that he needed to get to. Maybe wanted to save a few nickels for the trip home as well. I mean, I don't know. You never know. Because he'd kind of gotten whacked again after the rebuy, and if that was
getting him down to a stack depth that he just didn't feel comfortable continuing on, then you gotta make your call.
It's always good, ladies and gentlemen, to know when to walk away.
That is true.
You don't need to get it all back in one day or one session. If you're not having your day, walk away.
Pierre here, 3-betting 225 from the big blind over the open from Landon.
There was no action to the left.
Landon completes after Big Daddy Chaz comes along, and now we've got 2 mystery cards here. 10-6 tray, 2 diamonds, 1 heart. Pierre, surprisingly, the only player with his cards scanned in.
After we were just talking about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably just a deck issue. Yeah, certainly Big Daddy Chaz, almost always I see him sort of moving the cards over the scanner. Anyways, it's going to go checky, Chaz, Betty, and that's going to take it down. And Chaz will show the 5 of clubs. Good enough for the win. All right, the Philadelphia Football Eagles are getting cremated. And despite this fact, are not throwing the ball to the Heisman Trophy winner, wide receiver, as he is sitting on 5.8 fantasy points, and I am almost certainly losing this game unless he catches some stuff, man.
If you guys are watching, go ahead and like and subscribe. We had a full table earlier. We just had 2 players from California bounce. And we had another gentleman, Alex, had to take off a little bit early as well. So, unfortunately, down to 6-handed. But we're going to continue on here.
You're a real fucking asshole. Yeah. So, like, the guy walks away, and he's like, you tell me, right?
And Big Daddy Chaz wakes up with aces in the big blind.
Yeah, that's enough to put a smile on your face for sure. He's going to raise this up 75. Mooch. Snap 3 bets with the king queen off, and most of the time, yeah.
And
facing
smiles at him.
Yeah, most of the time facing a big blind open, king queen off is going to feel pretty good. Just like, nah, get out of here, bro. Like, you don't have much. Your range is super wide, and king queen is not only just happy to win right now, but probably just going to be better than most of your dog shit over there. But Big Daddy Chaz is like, nah, bro, nobody does that to me, especially when I'm holding number 1. 4-bet to 750, and Mooch now. Ugh, 525. Does he want to play in position with an offsuit king high against a strong opponent like Big Daddy Chaz? He says, no, I don't. It's all yours.
And we're going to show the ace.
Yep, 1 ace is all you get. But that'll still make Mooch feel just fine, as the other card could have been a king or a queen, and he could have been in a real bad way. Even if it was a jack or any other card, he was behind, so won't feel too shabby about that one. So you said that you've just been sort of dipping your toe into the tournament scene here recently, not going out to WSOP, but you enjoy the structure, like the blinds always going up, putting you in different scenarios, and every hand just sort of being very important, right?
Yeah, I mean that's also partly my decision why I'm not going, because I don't have a ton of experience in tournaments. I've also heard, from Brad Owen himself that the cash games are not the greatest in Las Vegas, but it's probably really going to be really great during WSOP because everybody in their mind is there. So I don't know. I just decided this year that I'm going to stay home and continue to play here and continue to work on my tourney game. So eventually I'll make it out there and play the main event.
Mm-hmm. So you have plans though, like you enjoy tournaments enough to like develop your skills and kind of work your way into a place where you feel comfortable playing them?
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
Personally, I always thought that, like, unless it's a really, really, really big tournament, which I didn't have a lot of experience playing in those big ones because I was like, I can't make a deep run. But the smaller tournaments, I was like, I don't know if I want to play that long, and you don't even cash. You spend 8, 10, 12 hours, and you don't even make any money where I can go play cash. And if I'm playing that, I can definitely make some money there. But the more and more I've gotten them, the more and more I've just enjoyed them and just kind of the change of pace. I don't find them boring at all, which some people do. Like you're just there just grinding for 8, 10, 12 hours and you get breaks in between. But I don't know. I really enjoy it. Every single hand matters. I'm constantly doing the math in my head of how many big blinds I have. Okay, I won a hand, how many big blinds I have. I lost a hand, how many big blinds I have. Looking at people's stacks, how many big blinds they have, and just the dynamic of all that. Smaller stacks, bigger stack, medium stacks, ICM, where the blinds are, can you rebuy, you know what I mean? Just there's just a lot of cool stuff involved in it.
For sure. Yeah. No, I've always enjoyed tournaments. That was where I started in poker, was on the tournament side. Had to sort of learn how to play these deep stack cash games. And, yeah.
That's how you started in poker? Mostly cash? I mean,
Mostly
tournament?
tournaments, yeah. Yeah, I really didn't play much cash at all. Like, the games that I had played was just like 1-2, you know, and it was just... I just didn't... It didn't really make a lot of sense to me to have that many big blinds, right? Because... Normally, it was like 1-2 with 300 max.
Yeah.
And so just like having $300, 150 big blinds is just like, wow, right? The amount of chips that people were putting in was like into the pots in terms of the number of big blinds was like baffling to me, right? I was like, what on earth is going
because
on?
You started in tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was a complete opposite. So I started in cash. And to me, when I first started playing, I wasn't thinking in terms of big blind. I just go, oh, this is this much money, do the math, pot odds, all that good stuff. But then when I started playing tournaments, and you have 300 big blinds versus when you're playing cash, like 300 big blinds almost feels like nothing. It feels like you're a short stack. But then when you're playing in tournaments, it's just like, wow, I got so many big blinds. You know what I mean? It's so early. Like these little hands right here, if you lose here and there, it doesn't even matter because the tournament doesn't really start till everyone starts getting below the 100 big blind range. But
yeah, once the chip average is down to like 30 big blinds, is like, oh, like we're in the mix. There are some short stacks and there's some big stacks, and then there's a bunch of people in between.
Well, see, I don't know how you feel about it, but I see a lot of like maybe some of the better players in the area. You never really see them start from like level 1. They normally get here like maybe the first, second, third hour. You know what I mean? But I like that early spot when you have so many big blinds, and you kind of get it. Get reads from the players that you're playing against and stuff like that. So, and you also have a lot of room to kind of mess around a little bit. And if you lose, you're not really giving up much there because it's still super early and it's a long tournament.
That's true, certainly to an extent. I think that's definitely spot on. The side of it that I think is the best is that when you are playing, let's say, you're like 200-300 big blinds deep early on, right? As we've got open a 75 here from Chaz, and it looks like just one taker from Pierre in the straddle. But yeah, my favorite part about it is that because the players are so deep, you can build some really big pots, right? Like you can build like a 80 big blind pot without much effort because the numbers just sort of seem small. It's just thousands of chips, right? Yeah. And like you started with 50,000, so there's a few thousand in there, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And so the players will sort of allow themselves to get too many chips in for the strength of their hand, just because the numbers don't quite equate to something that actually seems like tangible.
Yeah.
In any case, Pierre is going to turn Broadway. He's got the nut straight on the turn. River Diamond. He does have a 10 of diamonds, and Big Daddy Chaz checks back the turn, supposedly giving up here. Pierre will go for value, and Big Daddy Chaz will just snap fold. But yeah, there are so many opportunities early on in the tournament for you to accumulate chips that you don't have later on. There are equally many opportunities for you to punt your whole stack, though, as well. So that is one thing to be said in favor of the max late reg is, hey, you can enter for one bullet.
Yeah.
You can't go blasting off because you just got coolered 5 times in a row.
Well, I played my first turbo ever today, and yeah, it was, I think I was out in 5 minutes on the first one, like second hand. I mean, I flopped second paired and open ender, and I hung in there, and then I rivered 2 pair, and he ended up rivering a better 2 pair, and I was like, oh, there's half my stack. And then I got it in with ace king versus like ace 5 suited, and I was like, all right, ace king's good. Let me go try another one.
Womp, womp. Yeah.
Look at this. 1. Boom. Big difference.
Indeed, indeed. All right, Mooch here under the gun makes it 50 to go off of the $25 straddle. So Mooch keeping things small and reasonable. No matter how small and reasonable it is, Chaz can't continue with his straddle hand. Pierre here, the lone caller from the big blind. Heads up to a flop. 130 in the middle. Checks it over to Mooch, the pre-flop aggressor. We got a lovely king, queen, 10 Broadway board here. Pierre going to go for the check fold. Mooch going to show the queen of, or the 6 of clubs after he ships that one.
All right, so unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get any more players. So we may be 6 hand here for the, we got about 40, 50 minutes left. Let's see if we can get some action hands with these last 6 in.
Yeah, as of right now, sounds like nobody on that list actually in the card room or in the immediate area to come hop in here. So 6-handed though, we're seeing some hands. I mean, a few of the hands I would say have been played a little bit more aggressively than might otherwise be done. I mean, certainly you have to be a little bit more careful when you try to get spicy, right? When you're just 6-handed, because everybody kind of knows that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like if you've just been sort of card dead and you're sitting there folding a lot, and then you're like, you know what, screw it. Like, I got ace 7 suited here, and I'm just going to 3-bet this guy from early position. You know, like, okay, you can go for that stuff because everybody just kind of looks around. They're like, damn, there's 9 players here. Like, I better fold. 6-handed, they're going to be like, nah, bro, you're just trying to get away with some shit.
You'd definitely be a little bit more loose. 6 versus the 9, that's for sure.
Pierre and Chaz here looking at puppy photos, I presume.
That's so important to me, man. I didn't do that.
Another score here for Dallas is going to take a few more points off of the board for the Philly defense. My fantasy team is within half a fantasy point with 6 minutes in the game remaining. I need Devontae Smith to get some freaking yards, maybe a touchdown, please.
Dak Prescott is crushing it. 21 to 26, 232 yards, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He's out of the game. They got the backup in there throwing. Oh, never mind. That was the guy punting. I thought that was a throw to CeeDee Lamb. I was like, what the hell? I saw CeeDee Lamb was the returner. Sorry, just looking at David's laptop here. Pierre just going to go ahead and c-bet this and take it down. King 7 offsuit for Preston. No good for a continue.
Pierre's still in the lead, and pretty much has been in the lead the entire time. I can't remember how much he bought for.
It was around 10.
10K.
Yeah, 10K, I think, maybe on the money. So he's up 6. Landon up a good chunk. I think Landon may be our biggest winner. We'll see the accumulated winnings here at some point.
What big hand did he win a big hand? I can't remember. Or was it just an accumulation of a bunch of hands?
Yeah, Landon, he shipped a big one with the Queen 10 against Alex. He's had several that, I mean, they weren't like all-in pots, but they were big ones.
Also, the bomb pot. He took down that bomb pot, too.
Did
was
get
like
that one, that's
4K
right.
or so, yeah.
Over that, yeah, because it was a 2.4K pot on the turn and got called. So the previous street, yeah, at least 2,500. Anyways, on to the next one. Big Daddy Chaz on the button. Ace-Jack offsuit. Going to raise this up. And no takers. Shows the ace of clubs. 5 minutes left in the game. Philadelphia doesn't really have anything to play for. They are going to lose this game. They know it. So it's garbage time, but you would suspect that they could at least try to put some more points
Just try.
on the board.
Just try because Aaron needs some points.
I'm not gonna lie.
So who gets what at the end of your
My fantasy league?
yeah? So who gets what?
So the payout structure in the new one, I just joined the new league this season. I don't actually know the payout structure, but it's been around for a little while. You know, Big Daddy Albert is the commish. So he's the one that's been running this for
Daddy
several
Albert?
years. Albert plays the tournaments around here, TCH all the time.
Okay, I might have seen it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, rides the motorcycle, parks it out on the sidewalk when he comes into play. Yeah, really nice guy. Anyways, he's the commissioner for the league. Shout out to Albert if he's watching this. And anyways, I don't know the payout structure. I think it's like a winner take all minus a little bit for second. Like second gets their money back in a little bit, and then the rest goes to first.
Is there a penalty for the person who's in the very, very bottom?
There should be, because Seth punted off all of his players for nothing, and good ones at that.
Is that a
Zach.
laugh? Oh, that's a laugh.
Yeah, that's
I thought that was a really long yawn there. From
No, that's Big Daddy Chaz letting it out, man. That dude's got
he
the
has
best
a great
laugh
laugh,
ever.
man. He really does. He has a great laugh. No, so I got some friends from college, and they've been doing their fantasy since college. And whoever's dead last every year has to wear a dress, like a very seductive dress, and be like on the side of a major highway where all their friends are there taking pictures of them, and basically have like a sign that says "I suck at fantasy football."
We should make Seth do that, because he will be the last place team in the league.
Seth?
Yeah, junior producer Seth. Yeah, he did bad things, but we no longer need to speak of it, because Bones here has raised with kings and won the pot. Another look at the chip counts there.
Yes. Rescan every time.
5, 10, 25 are the blinds. Big Daddy Chaz here, going to be first to act. King Jack suited, good enough for a raise here under the gun. Mooch out of the way. Preston is a suited king. Gonna flat this on the button. And Bones will release, as will Landon. Pierre here, the last opportunity to complete. And he's gonna go ahead and take it, I can imagine. And he proves me wrong. That's not a hand that he'll defend. Was dominated, but 10 Jack there. You could cooler certain holdings. However, he's just going to hit the road. Ace, Queen, 7, Rainbow. Nobody makes a pair here.
Cool.
Big Daddy Chaz going to c-bet his gut shot to Broadway. Preston with just backdoors. No real reason to continue here. King high, going to be good some of the time, but there's no chance you can withstand another bet on the turn, so just leave the house right now. I like that.
Landon in the lead with a pre-flop raise of 22%, so the most aggressive pre-flop. And I think you said we got a couple of minutes? Okay. So we're going to do a couple, it looks like some double board bomb pots. And since the RFID does not have 2 boards of scanners on there, we won't be able to see everything. But they want to end it that way.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow night here after we lost our Las Vegas friends, as well as Alex there in the middle. And just going to go ahead and play a couple of bomb pots here. Yeah, see if somebody can spin it up real quick here at the end of the broadcast. Then we are going to go ahead and wrap it up for the evening. Thank you guys all for joining us. Always a pleasure having you here on TCH Live. If you are not subscribed, please do. hit the subscription button and notification bell right next to it. That'll let you know every time we go live, which is pretty much every night during every week. Just always bringing you live poker content here on TCH Live. All right, what do we got here? Landon flops a full house on the top board. He's got middle pair on the other one. We're going to check through, apparently. 10 of hearts here on the turn on the bottom. 4 of diamonds on top here. Pierre sitting on the Broadway straight on one board. 4s and deuces on the other one. Landon going to go ahead and lead out here, though. He's got the deuces full. Bet a 125. Pierre here with Broadway is just going to let it go because he's going to be getting quartered very frequently. So he says, nah, it's best to just punt this off right now and be done with it. And Landon going to go ahead and drag that pot.
Yeah, when there's 2 boards out there versus 1, having the nut straight or ace straight in general, a lot of quarters you're going to see sometimes. What I think that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there's one more hand. Even though one more double board pot.